World.
Okay, Counselor, you are live at 7 o'clock in the evening.
Very good. Thank you, Clerk Lawrence. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Committee on Finance. It is Wednesday, April 24th. It's 7 p.m. and we're opening the finance meeting remotely tonight. This meeting is being conducted remotely in accordance with the Governor of Massachusetts, March 12, 2020 order, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, with extensions signed on March 29, 2022 and March 29, 2023, and the City Council's vote to waive Rule 21A on April 13, 2023. This meeting is being live streamed on New Bedford Cable Access Facebook page, and all the members of the New Bedford City Council and the invitees are participating remotely tonight. I'm joined tonight on the meeting by my colleagues in government, Councilor Ward 1, Leo Choquette, Councilor Ward 2, Maria Giesta, Councilor Ward 5, Joseph Lopes, Councilor at Large, Ian Abreu, Councilor at Large, Shane Burgo, Councilor at Large and Council President Naomi Carney, Councilor at Large Brian Gomes, and myself, Linda Morad, Councilor at Large and Committee Chair. Would appear also that I'm going to have Councilor of Ward 3, Sean Oliver with me. And I see Councilor Baptiste, he's not in yet, and Councilor Pereira. I'll introduce them when, in fact, they join us. Here's Councilor Baptiste from Ward 4 as well. Clerk Lawrence, is there anything to read into the record tonight?
I do not have anything to read into the record.
Very good, thank you. Colleagues, without objection, I would like to take items 1 and 2 together. They're both communications regarding the same item.
Without objection.
Thank you, Councilor. Clerk
Item
Lawrence can read 1 and 2, please.
I will. Item number 1 is a communication. Janine De Silva, Chairperson, Community Preservation Committee, submitting the Community Preservation Committee's FY24 project funding recommendations. It was referred here on February 22nd, 2024. Number 2 is a communication from Janine De Silva, Chairperson, Community Preservation Committee, submitting detailed summaries of the Community Preservation Committee's FY24 project funding recommendations, and that was referred here on March 14th, 2024.
Motion to receive and place on file.
Item 1 and 2, motion to receive and place on file, made by Councilor Burgo, second by Councilor Lopes. Any discussion on receiving and placing on file? Roll call vote.
Councilor Abreu?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Abreu. Councilor Baptiste?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Baptiste. Councilor Burgo?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Burgo. Councilor Carney?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Carney. Councilor Choquette?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Choquette. Councilor Giesta?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Giesta. Councilor Gomes?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Gomes. Councilor Lopes?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Lopes. Councilor Morad?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Morad. Councilor Oliver?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Oliver. That passes 10-0.
Very good. Item 1 and 2 are now before us. Colleagues, just with regard to how the meeting will run now, as you know, there are 21 projects that are before us for consideration. What I would like to do is take, as we've done in the past, each project individually. We have Jessica Bailey and Janine De Silva with us from the Community Preservation Committee. Let them give us an overview of each project. I'll take your questions on each project, and we'll go through all 21. And then Clerk Lawrence is prepared, as we always do, to go back and take each project and do a roll call vote as to whether you're going to refer it to the full City Council or not. So we'll take each one individually. All right, so I'm not sure whether it will be Jessica or Janine that will do most of the talking, but if we could begin with project number 1. Okay, Jan. And Jan, if you could just tell us the project title, the amount that's being requested, a little overview, and then any other comments you want to make about each project. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Councilor Moret. And before I start, thank you for your communication a few weeks ago. In case any of you guys didn't know, now I'm making a public announcement. I got married February 29th, and so it was at City Hall. So Councilor Moret sent me a congratulatory note. So
Yeah.
Congratulations.
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 We wish you many years. Yep.
25 years into the making. So first project is Boys and Girls Club Playground. It's at 166 Jenny Street. The funding amount is $35,000. The CPA category is recreation. It is in Ward 4. And the Boys and Girls Club of New Bedford seeks to expand the outdoor playground structure for youths ages 7 to 13 years of age and rehabilitate the basketball court. Amenities will be available to be used by club members and the general public. And this project will fund the purchase and installation of additional playground equipment and the basketball court rehabilitation. I will say that in FY23, the Boys and Girls Club of New Bedford received $47,167. They completed a project. They were the first ones to complete it, and it was on budget. And we are excited to be funding them for a second go-round.
Very good. Jessica, do you wish to add any comment?
No,
Holly-
Jan covered it beautifully. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Council Aber.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, Jan, and good evening, Jessica. For me, this seems to be a no-brainer, but I guess the first question is, will this complete the project as it relates to the basketball court, or is this just part of the ongoing issue to work on, and then next year they'd come back for more funds, or would this be the completion of the court?
To be honest, I don't know if I have the answer to that because they have been phasing all their projects. I don't know if you've been by the building, but they just had a complete refacing of the building,
Yep.
plus everything that they've done before. So I would have, it might be possible for them to come back next year. They might come back with something else. I don't have the answer to that.
And I'm perfectly okay with that. I was just curious if this was going to complete the project because it's definitely well-deserved and needed, but I was just curious. So I'll just call Director Mendes myself and ask tomorrow. So that's all I had for this applicant. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll yield.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Councilor Lopes.
Chair recognizes Council Lopes.
Thank you. So I just want to add to Jan and to the team at the CPA that there's a 57% match on this project. So they're raising $20,000 out of a total project of $55,000. So they're also participating in. So this is one of those ideal situations where we're providing, funding, and they're coming up with that, a match that's outside of the CPA. So I just want the general public to have that understanding as well. Thank you, Council Moran, Chairman Moran.
Thank you. Council Baptiste, were you raising your hand? Yep.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Like the councilor at large said, that this is a no-brainer. I think that they're working on expanding what they've already built up over there. The court hasn't been probably repaved since the new backyard was built. So like these are little things that need to be done at the club. I think that if they just finish these projects right there, you're going to see a significant difference in the club, and you can see what how many kids are going to actually get to use that, because it's not going to be just the club kids, it's the kids in the neighborhood that use that yard too. And we would like to see that step up a little bit, because they deserve it. So thank you. I yield.
Thank you, Council. Anyone else? Okay, on to Project 2.
Project 2 is the Cape Verdean Ultramarine Band and Club located at 185 Acushnet Avenue. The funding amount is $25,000. The CPA category is Historic Resource, and it is in Ward 4. And the Cape Verdean Ultramarine Band and Club is a social, cultural, political, and literary establishment in the heart of New Bedford's earliest Cape Verdean community. Located at 185 Acushnet Avenue, the building was built in 1854 and is home to what may be the oldest Cape Verdean social club in the United States. This project recommendation will fund a building envelope assessment and the creation of architectural drawings. And, as we said, this supports historic preservation. Usually an envelope assessment is the first step in preserving a building. It lets the applicant know what needs to be done in the building, helps them develop priorities, and it's usually the first step that we recommend.
Thank you. Jessica, you wish to add anything?
If I may, that'd be great. Thank you, Counselor. So in addition to the first step, the envelope assessment will provide this applicant with a set of drawings so that when they go before the building department, they will have an understanding and they'll have those complete drawings that they will need to apply for any permits. It also will guide them in adhering to the Secretary of Interior standards as well as determining whether or not there is the trigger for ADA accessibility rehabilitation to be done. Because if, as you all know, if you spend 30% of a building's value on rehabilitation, it triggers the ADA accessibility laws. So this first step gives them a lot of information. It will also give them the documents that they'll need to do the next step, not only come back to the CPC for maybe additional funding to do the actual rehabilitation, but also when they apply for permitting as well. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Colleagues, before I open the floor, Chair would like to recognize we've been joined by Ward 6 Councilor Ryan Pereira. Questions? Chair recognizes Councilor Baptiste.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I really don't have any questions because I talked to Ramona and Kenny about what they plan on doing with the money. I think that it's essential for them to grow and see what their needs are so that they can ask for the proper amount going forward. The band club has been a staple in, Ward 4, for 100 years, over 100 years. So I think that for Kenny and Ramona to do the job that they've been doing and trying to upkeep, I think that, it's time for them to start seeing some improvements in their club so that they can keep on being a staple in our community. So I hope that people, vote for this. Thank you, and I yield the floor.
Thank you, Councilor. Anyone else? From the chair, Jan or Jessica, do we know who they're working with? I mean, sometimes I wonder about the applicants, not just this applicant, the applicant's ability to move forward with the money that they have. Do we know who they're working with? Who they've selected?
We don't really always encourage them to select someone in advance. There are people within the community that people have used. One would be Catherine Duff. Could be Joe Booth. There are architects in our community, but I don't know if they've actually selected one.
So no one other than members of the band club came to the presentation is, yeah, okay.
That's
Correct.
right.
Yep, thank you. All right, anyone else? All right, project 3, please.
Okay, project 3 is the Capitol Theater interior restoration. The building's located at 1414 to 1440 Acushnet Avenue. It's owned by the Community Economic Development Center of Southeastern Massachusetts. The funding amount is $250,000. The CPA category is Historic Resource. It's located in City Ward 2. And this project is a transformative rehabilitation and restoration of the 1920 Classical Revival Film Theater into 6 units of affordable housing, retail space, nonprofit offices, and a resource hub for the North End. The building was deemed eligible by the Massachusetts Historical Commission to be included for listing in the National Register of Historic Places. And this recommendation will fund the interior restoration of the historic lobby, ticket booth, and theater entrance. And this project has received funding from the CPA. This is their 4th time coming to us. Doesn't mean, this is a good thing. This is a very good thing. They came to us for the acquisition. They came to us for $200,000 in FY20 for the roof. And they came to us in FY23 for the exterior rehabilitation. So far, they've received $820,827. And it builds on the previous CPA funding. Like I mentioned, the total project is approximately $11 million. So even though it seems like they've received a lot of money, it's not even 10% of what they need to complete the project. And as I said, it's going to create 6 new affordable housing units. It's an adaptive reuse of a vacant historic building. It is in a major area. It's on Acushnet Avenue, so it's quite visible. Yes.
Yeah, that's me confirming to my colleagues that I see them. I'm sorry, Jan.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and there's strong community support for it. And, luckily it's in Ward 2, so it gives us the opportunity to bring some CPA monies to a different ward and show the community that we support work that's in their ward.
Okay, thank you. Jessica, you wish to add anything?
The only thing I would add is to build on what Jan mentioned about how projects of this size and scale typically will come before us repeatedly. Not because they're not actively fundraising, they are, it's just that we don't have a very large budget. So they come in for phases and they're actively using the money typically within the fiscal year so that they can keep moving the projects forward. It's just one piece of the very large finance puzzle that they put together in order to move these projects forward. So that's why we're not surprised to see them come back for another phase of funding. Thank you.
Okay, good. Chair recognizes Council Oliver.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Jessica and Jan. So this, as you stated, this project has been in front of us. This will be its fourth request, which will put it over $1 million. If passed, it would be over $1 million in just CPA funding, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I know that this building had some issues, I believe, last year with asbestos. Has that been taken
Yes.
care of?
Yes.
And then
This
they've
has
had
been
some ongoing roof leaks. Is that all buttoned up too?
They are in the process of doing that. The asbestos remediation, there was obviously a delay when they discovered the asbestos. They had to do the remediation. And then they had to apply for the building permit. They have that in hand and they are beginning to do the roof work. It is anticipated that that will be done by July. And we'll be able to button up the roof so that they can move the project forward with the exterior funding that they received in FY23 and then the interior that they're coming before you tonight for.
Okay. And this budget has seemed to have grown. I know that costs have increased and we hear about the continuation of what COVID has done. I know that it impacted this project. But I believe the project that was initially somewhere around last year, I think it was 7.3 million, and now we're at 11.3. So that's like a $4 million increase. Is that correct?
I'd have to go back and look at last year's application, but I'm not surprised by the increase in costs. Everything has gone up. The unexpected asbestos discovery was a problem. The fact that the roof was, and I'm providing you all, this is for those new counselors, the awardees are required to report quarterly to the CPC what their status of the project is. So this is from their latest quarterly report. Because of the fact that they weren't able to move as quickly as they wanted to on the roof, there was additional damage because it was left out into the elements. So I'm not surprised. I'd have to go back, honestly, counselor, to look back at last year's budget. But I'm not surprised that there would be an increase.
Okay, I'm pretty positive that it was about a little over 7 million last year, and now it's 11, so almost a 50% increase. Not that this isn't a worthy project, housing and redevelopment of our old buildings and is definitely, New Bedford's not getting any bigger, so we have to work within the confines of what we have. I just don't, we're going over, over 1.5 million in ARPA funds, 1 million in CPA funds, and it seems like we're still at kind of like square one on this project. That's all I have right now. Madam Chair, I'll let some of my colleagues speak.
Thank you, Council. Chair recognizes Council Abram.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Either for Jan or for Jessica. The 6 units of affordable housing, are we talking singles, doubles, studios? How does that all play out? 'Cause I don't see that here unless I'm missing it.
I believe they're all 1 bedrooms.
They're 1 bedrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's confirmed. You have that there. It
I
is.
can look at let me look at the application.
Okay.
If you want to I can look for it.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah, you can get back on that. The retail space in the nonprofit offices,
Mhm.
can you explain a little bit about how you expect like the retail and the nonprofit, because nonprofit also is business, and so you're looking to just kind of commingle nonprofit with just brick and mortar retail as people walk in? Is that kind of what the plan is on this?
I believe that they have had discussions with a local credit union as well as with the health center to have office space there. They will, the CEDC will also have their own office space there.
So kind of like a one-stop shop of sorts for the community as
Correct.
it relates to healthcare, financial services, things of that
Correct.
nature. Is that the impetus? Okay.
Yes, and then also they're also going to have a commercial kitchen so that people in the neighborhood can come and make products. They also will have a business incubator there. The CEDC's offices themselves are there. Sorry, I'm looking as I'm trying to talk at the
No,
same time.
that's okay.
But there's several spaces, but the CEDC will have space, and then they will have that, like I said, the kitchen, the business incubator space. Will also have classroom space.
Okay.
So sorry,
I've been supportive of this project for the last several years, but I do, and I do want to support it again tonight, but I just do want to echo my esteemed colleague who spoke before me. He is right. It seems like every year we're, allocating tranches of funds, large tranches of funds, and we always seem to be at square one every year. And I know the asbestos issue is out of everyone's control. I just hope that we really start to gain some traction with this as we go forward. And then next year, or as we get the quarterly reports, you can let us know how this is progressing because I agree with the council before me. It seems like to be an ongoing issue that we're always at square one here with this project. And that's just been my concern. And I'm sure the concerns of others too. So with that, I'll yield the floor at this time. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I do have the answer to your questions regarding the bedrooms. There are 4 2 bedrooms and 2 1 bedrooms.
Thank you.
And I can tell you that the CPC has had the same conversation. This project received its first funding back in FY19 for the acquisition, and then in 20 they were approved for the funding to do the roof. And as you know, the world shut down, and the impact on these larger projects that these organizations are trying to shepherd through over these last 4 years. I can tell you that they have had as much frustration on their end, trying to get all the pieces together. But I will tell you that if you go up there within the next couple of months, you will see an extraordinary amount of work being done on this building. They are crossing the starting line at this point, and I see that there will be a lot of progress between now and the end of this calendar year on this project. So
Good to hear. Well, I look forward to that. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you,
You're
Jen.
welcome.
Here, I'll yield.
Very good. Chair recognizes Councilor Choquette.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hi, good evening, Jan, and good evening, Jessica. How you doing?
Evening.
So I'm the newest guy here, and this kind of fell into my lap, and I was looking at the numbers, and I mean, $11 million for 6 low-income apartments and a storefront and a CEDC clubhouse. It seems like a kind of an awful lot of money there. So my question here is, what specific advancements have been made with the initial monies that have been given? Because it looks the same to me. I drive by there all the time, coming back from downtown after we have meetings at City Hall. And I guess I would like your opinion on, like, what stage is this project actually in on a scale of 1 to 10, with like 1 being, they haven't even broken ground, and 10 being completed. And thank you.
Jan, do you want me to answer that, or do you want to?
I'll start answering. First, I do want to say that I know the price tags seem very high, but historic preservation is some of the most expensive projects to do. Like even 117 Union Street, that's the new construction that's down on Union Street. That's apartments. That's 17 million. It's just expensive to build or to rehab currently used property. I mean,
How many units is the one going in for 17 million? Do you know?
that one's a lot more. It's 40 something units. So it's
40 for 17 and
but it still has a
11
lot
for
of
6. And
space.
well,
It has a lot of commercial space, and I would say with the CEDC, they are leveraging funding from other places. Like they've gotten money from the Massachusetts Department of Housing and Community Development, plus ARPA funding, plus probably some CDBG funding, plus have they gotten historic tax credits?
Brownfields, historic tax credits, underutilized properties, mass and federal historic.
And Jessica, I appreciate your candor, obviously. But with all these sources of money coming in, why is it that we still don't really see anything done on the outside? That's my concern.
Because as I said, they are working on the abatement and they are working and it's moving forward. They have crossed the starting line. You just can't see some of the work. They had a delay because of getting NSTAR to get in there to do the new electrical service as well. There's things that are sometimes out of their control. You're at the mercy of NSTAR. The abatement, the delay was there, which took longer than they anticipated. And then getting the building permit once everything was in place was also a 2-month process because of the scale of that project. So
Okay.
They also had to,
moving forward.
they had to undergo an environmental assessment and can't spend any money until this assessment is completed. And that held up them spending money to get the project going. So it's kind of like a domino effect. You have to do domino 1 to get to domino 2, to get to domino 3, to get to domino 4.
Okay,
you can't just say we're gonna just start.
No, I understand. So right now, what is the estimated time of completion for this project?
June of next year.
June next year? Okay, thank you. I yield.
And just one more thing I wanted to point out that we have forgotten in the mix because this project's been going on for so long. Initially, they had home funds in the mix of this. And the home funds, as Jan was pointing out, you have to have an environmental assessment. You can't spend any money until that is done. You can't get the home funding until all your funding is in place. So it's like cart before the horse. CEDC made a pretty bold decision to not take home funding so that they could move this project forward, because they knew that they could keep moving these financial pieces into place, but they wouldn't be able to do it in time to get the environmental assessment done to release the home fund so they could do the work. So once they did that, things have been moving along faster. And like I said, they've crossed the starting line, and by next June, you should see this building as a ribbon cutting, barring any unforeseen problems that they may encounter as they do the work, but that's their goal.
Thank you, Jessica. I yield, madam.
Yep, okay. Anyone else? Chair recognizes Council Lopes. And Council Lopes, before Jessica and Jan, if there are questions that require follow-up, appreciate how you've done in the past, listing them in a message. If you forward that, please, to the council office, they will then disseminate it to the councilors. So
Absolutely, thank you.
thanks. Chair recognizes Council Lopes.
Thank you, Chairwoman Mora. So either Jan or Jess, you mentioned commercial kitchen. So I'm assuming this would be a commercial kitchen used for co-packing opportunities for residents within the community?
I believe so. I haven't seen their business plan, but I believe the goal is to make it available to people in the community.
So if it is for co-packing, this would be the first in our area, because I believe the only one is right now in Marion and Mattapoisett. So in commercial co-packers, if they want to look into get into business, it provides a great opportunity for small businesses to start and to grow from a concept to something more marketable and tangible. So I didn't know that was part of the project. So that's really enticing. And then my last question, I'm assuming from my previous tenure, this would be a lot like the youth theater project, where there was multiple rounds of funding to see the project to fruition, from concept to fruition, if that's an accurate assessment. And we all saw the costs with the youth theater project go from its initial concept pre-COVID to where we are today, where the theater is up and running and it's a community asset. So I'm assuming that would be a like pseudo project to compare it to.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
very similar. And
Thank you for
Scott,
the
size and such.
Thank you for the clarification. Thank you, Chairman Moore, and I'm all set.
Thank you, Counselor. Anyone else? Chair recognizes Counselor Jesta.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Jan and Jessica, for being here tonight and explaining everything. I will say that this is a very important project, not only for Ward 2, but through the whole city. The Capitol Theater is a historic building, and it's been, it's going to be doing a lot of great things for the residents of the city. And Jessica, thank you very much for explaining the funding, that the 11 million is not just CPA funding, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Counselor. Anybody else? Okay, we're on to Project 4, please.
Okay, Project 4. Project 4 is the City Clerk Record Preservation Phase 2. The location is 133 William Street. The applicant is City of New Bedford City Clerk's Office. The funding amount is $50,000. The category is Historic Resource, and the wards are all. The city clerk is required to maintain and make available to the public certain permanent records in perpetuity. The current condition of many records hinders the ability to make the records available. Records dating back as far as the late 1700s are in urgent need of preservation. This recommendation will fund phase 3 of, it's not phase 2, phase 3 of the microfilming of these records according to industry standards. And as we said, phase 3, they've already received $100,000 to date, and it addresses long-term urgent need to preserve the city records. This was an area that was identified in the CPA plan. It enhances access to public documents, and it builds upon previous CPA funding. Large projects, again, like many of the ones we see in New Bedford, require multiple years due to the small CPA budget. So this is going to benefit all citizens of the city of New Bedford, and we fully support this recommendation.
So Jan, just to clarify, this is the third request from the city clerk, correct? So we'll update the book that says 2, we'll do 3, and they've received 100,000 already.
Yes.
And does this complete the restoration? It doesn't. Okay.
They had said they would need 4 phases. So next year they would come in for a 4th phase of $50,000.
All right, good. Thank you for clarifying. Colleagues? Going once? Okay, seeing none. Project 5.
Project 5 is citywide signage for parks. It's for Abolition Row, Ashley, Brooklawn, Buttonwood, Fort Tabor, Hazelwood, and Riverside Parks. The applicant is New Bedford Department of Parks, Recreation, and Beaches. The funding amount is $275,000. The CPA category is recreation. The city ward is all. So this is city parks and recreational areas lack a comprehensive, standardized, and accessible signage system to provide visitors with relevant information, such as activities at the park, field usage, rules, and maps. The signage will increase access to the parks for underserved populations, especially those with disabilities, provide visitors of all ages and abilities with the information needed to enjoy the parks, and provide this information in various languages, including Braille. This recommendation funds the first phase of the construction and installation of signage at 7 city parks. And they did receive funding in FY22. They received $24,000, and that was for the design phase. So they're coming back to us for the money for the fabrication and installation of signage at 7 parks. As I said, it increases access for underserved populations, including individuals with disabilities and non-English speakers. So it's going to have wayfinding on it, QR codes for schedules, field use guidelines, permit applications. It supports tourism in the parks and enhances the aesthetic of the space, and it builds upon previous CPA funding.
Okay. Jessica, you wish to add anything?
No.
Chair recognizes Council Pereira.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So a few things. In looking at the background information on this, I saw they received quotes from Poignant Signs. Is that considered going out to bid, or do they now need to publish it to go out to bid?
They'll have to go out to bid. They'll have to properly procure it. These were just quotes that they received in order to get an understanding of how much they should ask for.
Okay. And then further, in the drawings that I saw in the packet associated with this project, I saw like I would imagine is like all the different variations of signs, which look very nice. But did they give you okay, Hazelwood's getting this sign and like a more detailed list of all the parks, or is it just an overview of what the signs will look like?
It's what the signs will look like at each park. The 7 parks that they're going to do in this round would be Hazelwood, Riverside, Fort Tabor, Brooklawn, Buttonwood, Ashley, and Abolition Row.
Right.
And so the larger parks get different signage than say the next round, which is the smaller parks, so they'll have smaller signage. There'll be wayfinding poles in the larger parks, but not in the smaller parks. Let me look if I can look at the plans real quick.
Yeah,
I would
'cause
say the
all I
signs
saw.
are quite large. They're larger than you would think.
Yeah, when I saw them, they're like 7 feet tall by like 5 feet wide. I mean, they're big signs. I just didn't know if like if they presented, okay, Hazelwood's getting 3 of the large ones, 4 of the smaller ones, because I didn't know if part of that original ask of 24 last year included how many signs are in each one, or if that's something Parks already knows.
I think
And
they
you can
know.
get back to me on that. I don't think that's going to
Okay.
change my decision
Yeah,
tonight.
okay.
So I'm just looking for that information going forward.
So the
So-
number of signs.
Yeah,
per
if they have a
park,
general
the
idea of
signs?
how many, throughout each park or which types in each park.
Okay, that's fine. I
Alright.
can get that to you.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Madam Chair. No further questions.
Thank you, Council. Chair recognizes Council Lopes.
Thank you, Chairman Moore. So Jess or Jan, how many phases does the Parks Department estimate it'll take to get all the parks done? Yeah, I know you said this is the first phase. How many phases do you estimate?
I think it's only 2 phases. I think they're going to do.
They told us 3.
Oh, 3. Okay, it's 3
They did say
phases.
3, and it's a 3-year implementation.
3 phases over 3 years. Okay.
Right.
Thank you both. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you, Councilor. Chair recognizes Council Gomes.
I'm all set. My questions have been answered. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilor. Chair recognizes Council Giesta.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I apologize if I didn't hear it, but does this also replace signs that are already in the parks, or are these absolutely just new signs?
It's my understanding that what they will do is take down so that they don't have a mishmash of signage, that all this signage will replace existing signage. So every park will look the same. So if you go to Buttonwood, you know to look for the wayfinding sign that you'll see in Hazelwood, that you'll see in Brookline. The QR codes will be different because they'll apply, I believe, because there'll be a schedule. So you can schedule the fields or know what the schedule is. But I believe the look and what type is going to be in each, it'll have a cohesive. So you won't see like 4 different types of signage outlining the rules. It'll be just these.
Great. Thank you very much, Jessica. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Colleagues, anyone else? So from the chair, Jessica or Jan, how many signs does $275,000 buy?
We did that math.
I know it's covering 7 parks, but
It might have been. I
Something
can
you-
get that to you,
that's fine, no
but
problem.
I
Yep.
think that with off the top of my head, I believe it's at least two of the larger signs for each park and each park, so two main entrances, at least two of the wayfinding signs. And then for the fields, there'll be signage, I believe, as well. So the number of fields that, like, so Buttonwood has X number of fields, Hazelwood Brook Lawn, so.
Yeah,
I believe
okay, if you
that's-
wouldn't mind, yep. And
Okay.
I know that the package that you submitted, the detail package, had a rendition of what the signs would look like. What I can't recall is, I'm assuming they say City of New Bedford, Parks and Recreation Department, et cetera, correct?
I believe so.
Do they say Jonathan F. Mitchell, Mayor?
I can open that up real quick and see if I can find a rendering. It's not there. Off the top of my head, I cannot find that.
If
might
you'd
be
let
the-
us know, I appreciate it. I'm opposed to that for a couple of reasons. But these signs should be up for more than a mayor's term. I'm assuming we're going to be done professionally and they will last. And we don't need to be replacing, the name on the sign and making the sign not look professionally done as we change administrations. I don't see why there's any need for that to be there. In addition, these monies to put up these signs are coming from taxpayer dollars through the CPA. They're not really coming from city funds. And I'm opposed to having the administration, whoever the administration's name is, on the signs, and will structure my vote accordingly so that they don't have that. So I know that it will have a vote tonight, but it'll have a final vote come the city council meeting. And I'd like to have that answer between now and when we see this on the May 7th agenda.
Okay, I'm looking right now, Counselor, so I may find it before.
Well, that's fine. You can do the follow-up. I'm just making my comments because I just don't want to see that with these signs. I see that at, the Noah playground and, I just don't see that that's appropriate, especially in that situation where that playground was not paid for by city funds at all, so, but. Okay, anybody else? Councilor Gomes, were you asking?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. If you're gonna put a name on it, it should be City of New Bedford. And I agree with you. And if you're going to put another name on it, why don't you put Brian Gomes on it? Because I've been asking for these darn signs forever and a day. That's what Mary Raposa told us. She asked for the 24,000 for originally last year. This goes back to requesting these signs. So again, maybe you want to put my name on them. I'm joking, but the City of New Bedford should be on those signs. There should be no other name on that signs. The City of New Bedford, as it's been said, is paying for them signs. It comes from the taxpayers' money, and no mayor will be here as long as the parks will be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Council. Anyone else? Okay, very good. Headed on to project 6, please.
Okay, the next project is digitization of maritime records, logbooks and journals, phase 3. The project location is New Bedford Free Public Library. The applicant is New Bedford Free Public Library. The funding amount is $13,200. The category is historic resource and the city ward is all. The New Bedford Free Public Library owns the 3rd largest collection of whaling logbooks in the world. This collection is a significant resource for the city as well as for historians, genealogists, and researchers, as it contains historic meteorological data and presents the American whaling industry's impact on the social, economic, and cultural life of New Bedford. This recommendation will fund the 3rd phase of the preservation and digitization of the whaling logbooks and journals in the collection, providing worldwide digital access to those resources. And as we said, they received money before. They received in FY20 $10,000, in FY22 $14,000. This preserves the city's collection. It allows public access while protecting the collection, and it is protection of a historic resource, and it benefits the community at large through the preservation of city-owned documents.
Thank you. Jessica, you want to add anything?
No, thank you though.
Chair recognizes Council Oliver.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I always find this one almost a no-brainer. You know, there's nowhere else in the world that has the maritime history that New Bedford has. This is phase 3. Is this completion? Is there another phase?
I believe with this final phase, Jody will able, there were several books that were not able to be scanned because of their condition, so they were preserved and conserved and that can now be scanned. And then so that they are the remaining books that will be completed. So at the end of this this phase, she will have scanned the entire collection.
Okay, awesome. That's great.
And it
That's
is
good to
already
hear.
up online.
Oh, good, good. Now, is this something that, is it online only? Can they see it at the Whalen Museum or anything like that too? Or,
I'm assuming they can see it at the Whalen Museum if they have a,
Yeah.
if they have a computer, but
regardless? Okay.
yeah.
Well,
So
I
Whalen
thank you for
Museum-
that information. That's all, Madam Chair.
You're welcome.
Yeah, the
Very good,
website is
thank you.
Digital Commonwealth, and a lot of repositories are putting their information on Digital Commonwealth.
Thank you.
Or-
Chair recognizes Council Choquette.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think this is a great use of money. I echo the sentiments of my esteemed colleague from Ward 3. We are maritime history. The city is a tourism hub. I mean, this is a no-brainer. So I'm very excited about this and I would support it fully. Thank you. I yield
Okay,
the
did you have a
remainder of my
question,
time.
Councilor? Council Choquette, did you have a question?
No, I yield my time. Thank you.
Okay, good. Anyone else? Going once? Okay, we're on to project 7.
Okay, the next project is First Baptist Steeple Playhouse Restorations. It's located at 159 William Street. The applicant is Your Theater, Inc. The funding amount is $60,000. The CPA category is Historic Resource. It's City Ward 4. First Baptist Church, built in 1829, is the birthplace of Robert's Rules of Order and was named a national treasure by the National Trust for Historic Preservation. It is also listed in the National Register of Historic Places. Now the home to Your Theater, Inc., as well as community partners, the adaptive reuse of the church is serving as a catalyst for change in the Upper William Street area. All work has complied with the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation. This recommendation funds the restoration of the cast iron fence, railing, and stone wall, as well as the rehabilitation of the main entrance roof. And I will say that they have received $605,400 to date. FY18 was $275,500. FY19 was $65,000 for ADA bathrooms. FY20, $56,900 for a fire suppression system. FY21, $100,000 for an HVAC system. FY22, an ADA ramp for $108,000. It builds upon previous CPA funding. As we mentioned earlier, these projects often take a lot more money than we estimate. I remember when the first estimate came in, even before CPA, it was supposed to be like a couple of $1 million, and it's more than that now, but this is the end of the line, I believe. This project is listed in the National Register for Historic Places. It's in the Central New Bedford National Register Historic District. It has the capacity to serve multiple populations. It leverages other public and private funding resources. It has a lot of community support. And as we mentioned, Your Theater has already had several of their plays performed there, and they're actively using the theater.
Thank you. Jessica, you want to add anything?
No, Jan covered it. Thank you.
Colleagues? Chair recognizes Council Burgo.
Thank you. So I just wanted to know if there's like a cap on the amount that we're able to give particular projects, just because I see there's they requested 61, a little over 61,000, and we only gave them 60,000. Is there a reason why we didn't want to just give them that full amount that they requested of the 61,000?
Well, we budgeted out all our money, so we don't have any extra at this time to give them.
Well, that's simple enough. Okay, I just wanted to know because I was like, oh, it just seemed like, $1,000, in that little difference. I wasn't sure if there was like a situation where there's a rule where you're capped at 60,000 or whatever the situation may be. But okay, you ran out of money, so that is great. I yield. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Anybody else? So from the chair, Jan or Jessica, how much is this total project?
They had a budget of 71,000. They have applications into two other foundations for funding totaling another $10,000. I don't know. I think they were invited to apply for 1772. They were denied for the Crapo, but I believe they indicated that they were going to be looking for another source for the 5,000 they did not receive from Crapo.
So the $71,000 project, they're coming to us for 60,000 after having come to us for how much so far?
605,400.
605,400. So, I'm not inclined to approve this tonight. My vote will be no. It's not that I don't believe that the project to date is beautiful and they've done a great job, but they're constantly coming with their handout. They need to find other sources. The taxpayer is not going to continue to fund anything that they choose to do on this building. And I think last year when you were in front of us, you told us they were all done too, and here they are back again this year. So, I'm sorry that my vote will be no as it relates to this. And, I don't mean to be on a soapbox, and maybe you do or don't share my comments, but there are so many little groups that look for money that are trying to survive, and we don't give them that money, and because they don't know how to apply, because they don't know blah blah blah, because they don't know blah blah blah, and they don't come to us for it. But someone like this who knows how to pull all the strings continues to come back over and over and over. So I can't support that this year. And I don't think I've ever voted against the project before. So anybody else?
Can I just comment on that a second? I will say that we have figured out, we tried to figure out exactly how much we supported the project because we did have that question about the amount. And I will say it's between 20 and 25% that CPA funded. So it's not as large a percentage as it seems, even though they've come to us for 5 times before. So they have been receiving money from other places. And I will say that when you get a project and they're starting to ask you for exterior stuff, they're pretty much near the end of the road, I would say. It's like that all the interior is done. They're just doing the exterior roundabout stuff,
But my point is, Jan, that they're coming to us, that they're not going out to their supporters. They're not going out to their other funding sources because we're an easy yes. We're an
they
easy
have
yes.
supporters.
It's a $71,000 project. They're asking us for
Not for this
61.
one, but overall.
I'm sorry.
And I said, overall, they have been going to their supporters. This one,
I
I'm
know,
not
but
sure.
yeah, I'm talking about this project before. I'm not criticizing you for the decision that you made as part of the committee. I'm just indicating that I'm tired of the same groups coming back over and over and over. There's no new money being spent in other places in the city. It's all in the same places every single year. And I don't mean to preach to you in any way. My vote's no, and I just tried to justify why as it relates to this project, so.
But I
Anybody
guess
else?
one thing I would say, we're speaking to the public is that, we only received 22 applications. So I would encourage people in the public to actually put together small community groups. And if you want to apply the CPA money, we'd be happy to get your applications. For years, I've been asking for someone to form a Friends of the Acushnet Cedar River Swamp so we can get some trails up there. No one has taken us up on that challenge, but so I'm going to say it again. So please, we have a workshop in September where you can come and talk to us about doing applications. Jessica is always willing to help people. So I just want to make that statement out to the public.
That's fine. Thank you. Anything else on this project, colleagues? I'm sorry. Project number 8.
Okay, project number 8 is the Howland Family Portrait Conservation. The applicant is New Bedford Free Public Library. The project location is New Bedford Free Public Library. The ask is $65,000. The resource is historic resource, and it's all city wards. New Bedford Free Public Library is the steward of the only museum-quality art collection in the area that is free to the public, promoting access to the arts for all. The project scope includes 5 pieces related to the Howland family of New Bedford. Portraits of the 4th Mayor of New Bedford, George Howland Jr., done by Matthew Henry Wilson in 1857. George Howland Sr., done by William Allen Wall in 1844. And the 1st Mayor of New Bedford, Abraham Howland Sr., done by William Allen Wall in 1852. The bust of Sylvia Ann Howland, done by Charles E. Aldine in 1914. And the bust of George Howland Jr., unknown sculptor, in 1855. All 5 pieces must undergo conservation to be preserved for public display. This project recommendation funds the conservation of the paintings, the frames, and the 2 busts. So again, this is preserving the historic and cultural significant resources owned by the city of New Bedford, and it will allow for greater public access once they're conserved. The paintings and the busts have been determined by the New Bedford Historical Commission to be significant historic resources associated with a historic person, as well as the broad economic, social, and cultural history of the city. And we are recommending this project for funding.
Okay, thank you. Jan? I'm sorry, Jessica, do you wish to add anything?
No, Jan covered it. Thank you.
All right, good. Chair recognizes Councilor Choquette.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the Howland family don't have any kind of trust or legacy funding? I mean, they did pretty well in the city. I mean, do they have any way of supplementing some of this money?
I don't have the answer to that. That's a question for the trustees of the New Bedford Free Public Library. There might be some sort of endowment money, but it may have run out. It may not exist anymore. I mean, a lot of the library was founded in 1853, so I'm not sure any endowments that were put in place at that time still exist. That would be
If I may, the Abraham H. Howland Jr. Lodge provided a $10,000 grant to the library specifically for his portrait to be conserved. So that's
nice.
part of the funding that she has to go towards the conservation of these various pieces.
Right, that's the Masonic Lodge, right?
Mhm.
Oh, great. All right, thank you. Madam Chair, I yield the rest of my time.
All right, thank you. Chair recognizes Councilor Oliver. You're muted, Councilor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Are all 5 pieces going to be offline at the same time? Are they all, how are we handling this?
Some of them are offline now because they're
Oh,
not
okay.
be exhibited.
The busts are on display. They're in the art collection on the 3rd floor in Allie's area. They are on display, but one portrait does not have a frame, and the others are not able to be exhibited because of their condition.
Okay. And this is going to fund the entire reconstruction or rehabilitation of all these pieces? This isn't a
plus-
phased thing?
Mhm.
No, this
Okay.
plus the money that they received from the Masonic Lodge.
And I
Okay.
was incorrect. It was actually 15,000, Counselor Choquette. It wasn't 10, it was 15. And the library also has $1,000 that they're putting towards as an in-kind contribution towards the budget.
Okay. Well, I when I first saw this project, I actually kind of had the same sentiments as the council before me. I thought, hey, the Howlands did well. Didn't know if there was any money still floating around, but I think this is a worthy enough project to fund, as said in the application. I don't think the general public realizes how much valuable museum quality art we have at the public library, that it's free to the public to go and view. I think preserving the legacy of people in the city that literally were the fabric of the area I think is a worthy cause. So for that, I'll be voting positively for this. So I thank you all for your time, madam. I yield.
Thank you, Counselor. Anybody else? Going once? Project number 9, ladies.
Okay, number 9 is the James Arnold Mansion mansard dormer and cornices repair. The location is 427 County Street. The applicant is James Arnold Mansion, Inc. The funding amount is $95,000. The category is historic resource. The city ward is 5. The James Arnold Mansion, Inc. is dedicated to the preservation, restoration, and maintenance of the 1821 mansion. This phase of restoration will address the needed restoration and rehabilitation of the mansard, dormer, and cornices. The recommendation funds the restoration and rehabilitation of the mansion's mansard, dormer, and cornices. And this organization has received funding from CPA in the past, $404,300 to date. FY18 was $48,000 for a roof. FY19, $18,300 for site surveys. FY21, $63,300 for a roof, document conservation, master plan creation. FY22, $100,000 for the roof, and FY23, $175,000 for the mansard. It's an urgent need. Repairs are critical to maintain the integrity of the building, and it builds upon previous CPA funding. Again, large projects need multiple years of funding due to the small CPA budget. It connects the building, the applicant is connecting the building with the Arnold Arboretum and funding resources associated with that connection. There's community support. It's in the County Street National Register Historic District, and we're recommending funding.
Okay, thank you. Jessica, do you wish to add anything?
The only thing I wish to add is that last year they did not receive the full amount that they requested for this project. This would be in essence the second phase of the project. The project has begun. They are working on the mansard and the dormer and the cornice as we speak. And they, if this funding is awarded, they will be able to continue the project moving forward. Otherwise, they'll only be able to do a portion of it. Last year, they received less than their ask because we, again, ran out of money. So we had to prioritize. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilor Oliver.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We said that they received less than their ask. Do you recall, I don't have it here in front of me, what their ask was last year? And what
It was a
they received?
$75,000 difference.
$75,000.
Correct. And of course, costs have gone up.
Yep. So they're coming to us for $95,000 this year.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
For the general public, I know this was asked by my colleague from Ward 2 last year, but could you fill folks in on what a cornice is? I don't remember what that was.
Sure. Let's see how to explain it. So all 3 of these elements are at the roof line.
Yep.
The mansard roof is a type of roof that's on a building. It's more of a kind of boxy shape where it goes like that, as opposed to like the regular kind of more triangular gable shaped roof. And then the dormers are the windows that will kind of poke out from the roof line. So you see them along the edges at the top. So
Okay.
you roof and there's windows all those places. And the cornices are right below the roof line. It's the decorative area between the building wall and the roof.
Okay. Does this complete the repair of these dormers and cornices? Because they were here last year, they did get less. I see that again, they raised little to no money, similar to last year. Again, it is another, looks like another group that continues to come in front of the CPC and this council for more funds. There is a private club that operates out of there, but they rent from the building, correct?
Correct. So Wamsutta Club is now a tenant of the James Arnold Mansion Incorporated.
Yeah. Any, do we know if there's been any like in-kind contributions from the club to help maintain the property that they occupy?
I don't know that answer, but I would like to point out that, and I did recommend that they put this in their application, that they are juggling multiple projects at the same time. So the portion that you see is the portion of funding that they've raised and they've allocated to this particular project. I know that they're also working on upgrading their heating system, as well as doing the exterior work that needs to be done. So they are showing the portion that they've allocated to this project in particular, not for the heating system and other projects. So, and they
Okay.
did not reference that in their application, unfortunately.
Now, I know that this property also had some issues years back with the roof. Has that been addressed and rectified, or is that part of this too?
No, the roof has been completely done
Okay.
as long as nothing new pops up. All the existing leaks that were identified prior to and during the master plan review have been addressed. The mansard, dormer, and cornice were the next priorities as outlined by the master plan. So I believe that it is all weather tight once this is done.
Okay. And I just, 'cause they were before us for some garden work and things like that before. Is that correct?
The site surveys,
Yeah.
yeah, the site surveys were LiDAR and I think sonar. So they were trying to determine where the existing gardens that Sarah Arnold's and James had. And that was a survey that they did back in FY19. Because as the public may not know, that the Arnold Arboretum that's up outside of Boston was the site of the original Arnold Arboretum. And so the gardens that James and Sarah had served as the first public park, if you will, for the city of New Bedford. They opened their gardens, so that what they were trying to do with that site survey was to determine where everything was in the garden area. Where they still own, because the property used to go over to Arnold and back to Arnold Place. So that's what that site survey did.
Okay. It was for no work. It was just to plot out where the original items for this particular property was.
Correct. And it would inform the work that the landscape architect is currently doing for the project, which is not funded by CPA.
Okay. This one's always a tough one. I know that it's different now that I think it's the building's in a trust. Is that true? Is that correct? Am I correct by saying that, or
I
how
don't
is
believe
it?
it's held by a
No.
trust. It's held by a
Okay.
nonprofit.
Well,
owned by-
that's it. I'm sorry. And then the tenants that are there are just tenants. I don't know. I have a hard time believing that they can't do a little bit more as far as fundraising. I don't know. I'm not sure where I stand on this yet, but I thank you for answering my questions, Madam Chair. I yield at this time.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Madam Chair, I'd like to address Councilman Oliver for a second. The site surveys, I will say they're not just on top of the land surveys, they're all ground penetrating radar. It's what they use to determine archaeology. So it's not a super simple survey. It's something where they're looking underneath the ground using radar to kind of get the information from under the ground up to the surface.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So from the chair, and this will be a takeaway, you don't need to calculate this now. I think, Jan, you mentioned that, so far they've come to the CPC for 404,300 and now another $95,000. So we're pretty close to $500,000. I'd like to know over the course of the projects, how much they've privately raised for the projects that they've come to us for. So if you could go back in the records and it looks like they raised $1,000 for this one. I'd appreciate it if I could get that information.
Absolutely. It's all going to be in their project closeout reports. I can pull that together.
Perfect. We appreciate it. Thank you. I echo the comments of the speaker before me. I voted several times against this project. I'm not sure you're gonna get a yes vote out of me tonight either. There's another group that just continues to come back. I understand the significance of this building, but this building is not used by the general public in New Bedford. It's not used by the people whose money is being requested for these projects. So, and that's kind of how I look at it as an at-large counselor. So
Madam Chair, if I just might make one comment.
you guys are going to debate other than every comment tonight.
No, I'm not going to debate you. I just want to let you know that I was told by this applicant that they would not be coming before CPC for the next couple of years because they're going to be focusing on other projects that have other funding sources.
That's good news. Thank you, Jessica.
You're welcome.
Project 10.
Okay. Project 10 is the Johnson House electrical upgrade. Location is 21 7th Street. The project owner is the New Bedford Historical Society. Funding amount $85,000. Category historic resource. City Ward 4. The Nathan and Mary Johnson House is a National Historic Landmark as well as a state landmark for its role in the Underground Railroad. It is also the first home in freedom for Frederick and Anna Douglass. It is one of the most significant properties within the city, located directly across from Abolition Row Park in the Abolition Row Historic District. It serves as the home of the New Bedford Historical Society, a not-for-profit organization dedicated to documenting and celebrating the history, legacy, and presence of African Americans, Cape Verdeans, Native Americans, West Indians, and other people of color in New Bedford. This project will fund the upgrade to the electrical system and necessary restoration post-installation. And this is a priority need. The upgrade is critical to maintain the integrity of the building due to an outdated system. We understand from the applicant that they still have knob and tube wiring in their basement, which everyone knows no one should have anymore because it's a big fire hazard. So as the property is a historic and culturally significant property. It's a National Historic Landmark, and there's strong community support for the project.
Thank you, Jan. Jessica, you wish to add anything?
No, thank you.
Colleagues? So from the chair, is this a total project? It's done for $85,000?
Yes,
Okay, and there's no contribution other than CPA funds, correct? It's 100% fund?
correct. At the presentation, we asked, and it seemed that they had put a lot of effort into the fundraising for the Abolition Row Park. So they came to us for this. This is the first time they've come to the CPC for funding.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? All right, project number 11.
Okay. New Bedford Fishing Heritage Center Archives Phase 2. The location is 38 Bethel Street. The applicant is New Bedford Fishing Heritage Center. The funding amount is $30,000. The category is historic resource and the city ward is all. The New Bedford Fishing Heritage Center's mission is to preserve and present the story of the commercial fishing industry. The center has amassed a significant collection of local fishing community history and culture, which includes oral histories, a digital collection of 20,000 images, charts, logbooks, ledgers, settlement sheets, union records, scrapbooks, and other items such as fossils, tools, and boat models. This project will fund Phase 2 of the Archives project, including the accessioning and cataloging of the collection and the completion of a collections management plan, allowing the collection to be made publicly available. They received $25,000 in FY23, and this project is significant to the history and culture of the city of New Bedford. The artifacts give evidence of the fishing industry and of those who came from other countries of fishing. It supports the work to create a collections management plan to ensure the archive is publicly accessible, and there's strong community support for the project.
Thank you. Jessica, you wish to add anything?
No, Jan covered it all. Thank you.
All right, Chair recognizes Council Lopes.
Thank you, Chairman Morad. Super quick question. This says Phase 2. Do we know how many phases it is to complete all of the phases of the projects?
I believe that they are on track to get everything, all the pieces that they want done, the collection management plan, the accession, all of that, done with this next round of funding.
Thank you, Jess. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Chairwoman Moran.
Thank you. Anybody else? Going once? Project 12.
Okay, Project 12, New Bedford Superior Courthouse facade restoration. The location's at 441, 443 County Street. The applicant is Bristol County Commissioners. The funding amount is $285,000. The category is Historic Resource. The city ward is 4. The New Bedford Superior Courthouse is the second oldest operating courthouse in the state, having been built between 1828 and 1831 during the height of the whaling era. The courthouse was designed by renowned Providence architect Russell Warren. This prominent Greek Revival institutional building is located within the County Street Historic District and has architectural and historical significance. This project will fund the exterior facade rehabilitation of this historic building, and these repairs are critical to maintain the integrity of the building. There will be a preservation restriction placed on the property to protect the public investment. We did ask the applicant questions because it is owned by the Bristol County Commissioners about, funding and other opportunities to obtain funding. And they did tell us they have so many properties. This is one of 7 properties that they own. That's why they came to CPA here. They were also going to CPA in Fall River because they have a courthouse in Fall River, in Taunton, and other areas in the Bristol County. So we asked them a lot of questions, I will say that much.
Thank you. Anything else, Jan?
Nope.
Okay, Jeff?
The only thing I would say is, I believe you all received a letter from Tammy Matuno, who is the superintendent of the buildings, which she detailed some information. They have been working on the roof, and they are also working on the cupola as well with the county commissioners funding.
Okay, thank you. Chair recognizes Councilor Choquette.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Jan and Jessica. So to my knowledge, this is the courthouse where the Lizzie Borden trial was, correct? So this has a lot of historical value.
Yes.
And obviously, that being said, it's a county courthouse. So I'm curious, how much, is this, how much is Fall River paying? How much is Attleboro contributing? Dartmouth, Freetown, Fairhaven. Actually, Freetown's not in the Bristol County, I'm sorry, but Bristol County towns and cities. I mean, yes, it's in our city, but it's a county issue. So I'm curious if you guys have any figures for that. I'd hate for us to get stuck with the brunt of the bill.
Well, I would say that those were some of the questions that we asked them ourselves. And first of all, the ask is $422,972, and we are only recommending $285,000. So we're not fully funding this project. They also have a project in place where they're going to be replacing the roof themselves. It seems like all the courthouses have been undergoing severe deterioration, and they haven't been maintaining the buildings as well as they should. So this is kind of like priority repairs at all of their courthouses, not just this one, because that was our concern. Why didn't they, try to pool their money and do one? She had said, Tammy had said that they decided they would try to work on all of them at the same time rather than do one at a time. But so they're working not only on the New Bedford one, but they're working on a couple other ones at the same time. And they have funding for some of the other ones. They could come to us, we asked them why didn't they go to the other CPAs like Fall River to help fund this project. But they're going to that CPA for the Fall River project, or so they're hitting up all the CPAs.
Because I see, obviously, like I said, the historical value of this, the CPA monies would meet that in New Bedford, because this is, where many people went to trial, but especially Lizzie Borden. But if Fall River had that kind of request, on a county level to redo the facade of the new courthouse, obviously it's not a historical issue. And, so I just want to make sure that, again, we're not being made to pay the brunt.
If I might, Counselor, the Fall River CPA gave $250,000 to the county for the old county courthouse, which now holds the Fall River Children's Museum.
Mhm.
So Fall River did work on or funding for that particular project.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you, Jessica.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I yield my time, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Council Oliver.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple of my questions were asked and answered by the colleague before me and Jan, but so this ask is just for the facade. It's really not touching the cupola and the roof, or that is mixed in this.
Oh, they have funding for that already.
Okay. I mean, what was their initial ask?
$422,972.
Yeah, and we are at
285.
285. Because I mean, to come to we're talking about $2 million in funds, and this is one project that came with almost a quarter of that ask. It looks like the county commissioners who own the building are looking to put in, they're putting in less than what we are allocating, even though they asked that 400. I mean, I can kind of see. I don't think that they ever thought that they were going to get the 400. More of I'll ask for the moon, and if I don't get it, I'll fall amongst the stars. Is what it kind of looks like here. I would have liked to see more state funding or other avenues of funding. I drive by that building quite often, and it's such an eyesore. There's no debate that it needs restoring. I just don't know how much should be falling on the New Bedford taxpayer. When I think there would be multiple avenues of funding. That's kind of all I have, I guess, at this time. I yield, Madam Chair.
Thank you,
Um,
Council. Chair,
Madam Chair, I just had one more comment. I just remembered it when Councilman Oliver was speaking. Because we asked some of these same questions you're asking, believe me. They haven't really done any kind of rehabilitation or repair work on the building since 1953. And, we asked them that. So it's like 70 years since they've been doing any kind of.
It shows.
I know. But that's why it costs so much, unfortunately. But yeah. I don't disagree with you. I'm just.
Well, thank you. I yield, Madam Chair.
Chair recognizes Council Aber.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jan, and correct me if I misunderstood you or misheard you. Did you say that the county commissioner application, the applicants here stated that they had approached other CPA compliant communities within Bristol County for funds? Because I mean, you talked about Fall River, but I mean, there's a bunch: Easton, Seekonk, Rehoboth, Westport. I'm not going to list them all. Swansea, Fairhaven. So, do you know if they approached any of them? And if so, I don't know if this would be a question for either you or Jan or Jessica could answer. And I realize that neither one of you are attorneys, so I preface that if you can't answer this, but is it allowable under the law for, say, for example, Rehoboth or Easton taxpayers to put in through their CPA fund for this project, even though it's physically in New Bedford, but this is for Bristol County civil matters and civil use, and throughout the county. So do you know, have they really gone to every community, and are they allowed to do that? Is it an allowable use? So in other words, Seekonk taxpayers, for example, kicking in funds to the county commission to go to this courthouse, even though it's physically in New Bedford, but it's a Bristol County use.
Do you want me to
I
take
don't-
them?
I'll let you follow up in case I give them the wrong information. But I don't know if they've gone to the other ones. The problem is that all of their courthouses are in such disrepair that they've hit the CPAs of the various towns for the courthouses in those communities. So they hit New Bedford for the New Bedford courthouse. I don't know the question that you're answering, if they could hit Fall River for the New Bedford courthouse.
I do.
Well, and
It is allowed.
I get it's a litigious question,
It's
but
not,
just,
it is allowed.
it
It is
is.
allowed, Ian. Under CPA, communities can fund projects that are in other communities. For example, regional housing or regional open space that overlaps towns' borders. It is allowed. Is it likely? Because we get probably the most money, our New Bedford and Fall River, is it likely that the smaller communities are getting much smaller CPA amount every year are going to put in, even though it's a county courthouse? It is highly unlikely. So, and I do know that Tammy did have conversations and looked into other CPA funding. I mean, she is also looking into other funding because this is such a large building, and not only for this building, but all the other courthouses that and other county buildings that they are owned and responsible for.
I know there are some other matters that you're going to, Jessica, look up and report back to this committee and to this council. Would you mind adding one more to your list through
Sure.
the chairwoman to you? Just would you mind looking through the other CPA eligible communities in Bristol County to see and report back what the Bristol County Commission has put in forth, anything, just so we know kind of what they're looking for in these other communities? Because they may have said that they've done it, and maybe they have. I'm just curious what they're looking for everywhere else, because if they're going to come back next year, I'd like to see some other municipalities kicking in toward this fund, so it's not just on the back of New Bedford taxpayers. That's my view. This is a Bristol County use. This is a public use. So I appreciate that. And with that, I'll yield. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Chair recognizes Councilor Burgo.
Just to clarify, the CPA funding, we don't get a state match anymore for our CPA funds that come from New Bedford?
No, of course we get a state match. Well, we do. We get a state match. I'm sorry. I must have misspoken.
I'm clarifying to the public that it's not just from New Bedford taxpayers, but we also get
No, we
dollars.
get a state match, correct. Yes, the state match is based upon the surcharge collected on the previous year, and the percentage is calculated typically in the spring by DOR, Department of Revenue, and then we get that amount. We still don't know what the percentage is for this coming year. And then we get the funds in November of every year.
So the taxpayers of the Commonwealth are contributing to this just as well as
Correct. It is based on the Registry of Deeds fees that they collect. And that's what funds it.
That it's the New Bedford taxpayers, but which is true, but I think it's important. The whole point of the CPA, the community preservation, is that this is for a common community good. And, with that, I wanted to clarify that for the public. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Anybody else? So from the chair, I have a problem with this project as well. I would like to know if they've been to Dartmouth, who is a CPA community and is served by this courthouse, and for Haven as well, and other surrounding communities to New Bedford, and what their requests are of those for this building. And Jessica, I think you said this a couple minutes ago, this property is owned and it's the responsibility of the Bristol County Commissioners. It's not the responsibility of the city of New Bedford taxpayers. And I'm not willing to support $285,000 worth of CPA funds for this building. Because I know that the majority of the people that are using this building are not New Bedford residents. So there's just no way. The county commissioners have a budget. They assess us on a regular basis for fees, etc. And I think that they should take care of their own properties without coming to dip into the pockets of the people of the city of New Bedford. And if you didn't do this project, you'd have additional money to lend to other people who came forward looking for projects in the city of New Bedford. So I'm not going to support this one either. But I am curious to find out the answers to those questions when you are able to do the research, because it just looks like they came to the deep pocket communities to get the money from us versus people who utilize the courthouse. And I don't even know if they utilize this courthouse anymore. Most of these cases now are in Fall River in the new facility. So I'm not even sure what they use this. Do you know what they use this building for now?
They are still actively using it. Trial court is still
For Superior Court cases?
I'm not sure if it's Superior, which one it is, but the Mass Trial Court still is a tenant and is using that building.
Okay,
That she indicated that when she did her presentation in January.
okay, thanks. Well, hopefully she'll find money in other locations, so. Council Aber, do you want a second?
Just quickly, Madam Chair, just through you to my colleagues in the public, according to the mass.gov website, it's being used for civil matters only. So thank you. I'll yield.
Yeah. Chair recognizes Council Carney.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Just really quickly, Jessica, what was our contribution from the state for this round of funding?
Oh, that's a good question. It changed because we had additional. So I think it was over 300,000.
Thank you. I yield. Thank you, Jessica.
You're welcome. Sorry, my computer is not as quick as I would like it to be.
Mine is doing the same thing. I don't know, maybe it's the weather.
It was 299,776.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
So just to clarify that point, the state contribution to the city CPA funds this year was 299,000?
776, correct.
And the commissioners for Bristol County are looking to take 285 of that. Just my point, that's all. Yep.
They actually want
Yes, I
400.
know, I heard you, Jan, they wanted a lot more than we got, I got that, yeah. Okay, anybody else on this issue? Project 13.
Okay. Riverside Park Heat Island Relief Project, Riverside Park, Belleville Avenue. The applicant, City of New Bedford Department of Parks, Recreation and Beaches. The co-applicant is Groundwork South Coast. The funding amount is $50,800. The CPA category is Recreation. It's in City Ward 2. The project applicants are partnering to address the community needs around access to open space and recreation by providing access to cool outdoor areas, which have a profound impact on resident well-being and community health. This project will employ near-term cooling solutions with the installation of sunshades, and the use of heat-reflecting paint on the existing basketball court. The recommendation will fund the purchase and installation of the sunshades, the rehabilitation of the basketball court with heat-reflecting paint, and community outreach to educate about cooling solutions and identify community-led expansion. So this is a demonstration project to implement steps and gather community feedback. That's why they're doing community engagement around it. It increases access for underserved population by providing shade to fight heat island effect, supports tourism to the city, enhances the aesthetic of the space, and that's all we have on it. We recommend the funding of the project.
Thank you. Jessica, you wish to add anything?
No, she covered everything. Thank you.
Colleagues?
They did ask 100,000 and we're funding at 50,800. And it's because we had some questions about the project, so.
Okay. Chair recognizes Council Oliver.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The location of how many sunshades? You say it's plural, so how many? Is it 2?
Well, that was some of the application itself. We thought it was going to be multiple sunshades, but it seems like it's one sunshade.
So
That's
sunshade.
It's a demonstration project to see how it works.
Okay. Is this it being a demonstration, does that have the ability to stay there, or is it's are we gonna pack it up when the demonstration is done?
They'll own it when it's done.
Well, the park will own it, or the Parks Department will own it, and it's a traveling circus.
No, it's going to be for that space.
Okay. Do we know the location within the park? Because I think my understanding of that park is that they've had some trouble with the actual playground area, and they're looking into possibly moving that or reconfiguring that. I just don't want this to be put somewhere and then we have to move that as well.
going to be adjacent to the basketball court that's also going to be repainted with a reflective paint. So it allows them to have a gathering area that's adjacent to the basketball court.
Okay, and could, for the general public and from myself too, did they elaborate a little bit more on the educational piece and the outreach as far as how they're gonna come and see my shade? Is that I don't understand.
I think the community engagement is going to be around what the public likes to, what would they like to see? How large a space, where are they using the spaces? Where are they gathering? Where they cannot gather based on the heat?
Okay.
And, and so as you know, that they have the community garden, so they're there already, and that they are doing some work there to help with reducing the heat island effect in that area. This is just moving a little bit further towards the south, over towards the basketball court area. So I think they're going to be engaging with the public that come to the park to see where they do and don't congregate due to the heat, and how can they better serve the community by providing more shade structures. This is a solution that goes hand in hand with the planting of additional trees in the park to provide more shade. Of course, the trees take a little bit longer to grow. The shade is more immediate relief for the community.
Okay. I assume that the Parks Department does this on a daily basis anyways. They don't need additional funding to reach out or to educate or this.
They're working with
this-
Groundwork South Coast.
Okay.
Groundwork South Coast is their partner in Riverside Park with the community garden, as well as the work that they've done on the riverbank to take away the invasive species. That's another project they've done with Groundworks. So it's in partnership with them, with their green team that works on the ground, because the Parks Department just doesn't have that kind of staffing. So they partner with Groundworks to do some of this outreach and to implement the project.
Okay. And again, for the general public, this is one shade.
It could be 1 to 3, depends on the funding that
Could be
they
1 to 3.
receive.
Okay. All right. Well, I thank you for that, and I yield, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Counselor. Anybody else? Going once. Project 14.
Okay, next project is the Roberto Clemente Park improvements. The location is 635, 679 South First Street. The applicant is City of New Bedford Department of Parks, Recreation and Beaches. The funding amount is $185,000. CPA category is recreation. It's in City Ward 6. Project is located in an environmental justice neighborhood. The Roberto Clemente Park is used by the neighborhood for passive and active recreation activities. The park amenities need to be upgraded and replaced in order to accommodate visitors of all abilities. The improvements will revitalize this park, opening new opportunities for programming in the underserved neighborhood. This project recommendation will fund the replacement of the basketball court, converting the half court into a 3x3 court, installation of ADA walkway to the gazebo, restoration of the gazebo and installation of picnic tables, a water bottle filling station, lighting, and new landscaping, including the burying of the main electrical wires to make the park eligible for future state grants. This is a very underserved and underutilized park in the South End district of New Bedford, and it also increases access for individuals with disabilities and enhances the aesthetic of the space. And we looked as an opportunity to kind of bring some park amenities to a neighborhood that could definitely use it. We were excited to provide funding, a recommendation for funding for this project.
Thank you. Jessica, do you wish to add anything?
It was one of the higher priorities for the Parks Department because it isn't up to the same standards that they have for the other parks, and they wanted to bring that park up to the standards to serve the community. Thank you.
All right. Chair recognizes Council Pereira.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I couldn't agree more with both of what you both said at the end. I drive by the park currently, and it's utilized, right? Kids are there playing on it, and it's in deplorable conditions. So I'm very glad to see it's going to get fixed. One question I had, I spoke to Mary about this, Mary Raposa, previously prior to this meeting, but one thing I'd just like for maybe for Jessica to keep in mind as you're going through the progress of this. I know it's not in here, but there's some retaining walls owned by the neighbors that are falling and collapsing onto the city property. And that's going to be dangerous, I would imagine. The project
saying?
itself, I don't have a problem with, but I have more of an issue with the
I can't hear you.
Counselor, to that point, the CPC did ask that question regarding the retaining wall. Mary said that they're going to be fencing the perimeter, addressing that issue so that it makes sure that the retaining walls stay on the right side of the property. So, and also one other part of this project is that it'll bury the electrical lines, which, as you all know, the park grants required they don't want electricity to be seen. So this will allow this park to not only be rehabilitated and address ADA accessibility, it'll also bury those lines so that for future funding, they can go for park grants. So it opens up that avenue of funding for this park if you all vote to approve.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Jessica, Jan, and Ryan, Council Pereira, I'm sorry to interrupt during a conversation. Clerk Lawrence lost us and he was calling to try to get back in. So I apologize for speaking, but he's back. Clerk Lawrence, you can hear us, right? Okay. Chair recognizes Council Oliver.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'm somewhat familiar with this park and the counselor before me was saying that there's an issue with the privately owned from residents, the retaining walls. Did I hear correctly that our Parks Department is just going to put a fence there, and we're not going to work with or try to address the wall with the property owners? Just a fence that'll take care of it.
I'm sorry, are you asking if the city's going to spend money to fix a private property owner's wall?
No, but I mean, possibly compel them to repair in some way, because we're going to put up a fence and then the wall is going to fall and then we're going to come after them for the repairs to our fence.
Well, I'm assuming, Counselor, that the Parks Department when they do this, that they will probably address that issue before they put up a fence so it doesn't get destroyed. So they're well aware of the issue. So I'm assuming she'd work with the building department or whatever appropriate department is to make sure that the abutters are aware of the work and that they are making sure that their property is not a safety issue for the playground and for the fence.
Okay, I just wanted to make, this is the first time that I've heard about it. And, anybody who's watching or going to watch or listen is like, this wall is falling, we're going to put up a fence. Don't worry about it. The fence will, so I just wanted a little bit of clarification. I'll reach out to Mary on that. Thank you. I yield, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Council. Anyone else on their first? Chair recognizes Council Pereira in a second.
Yeah, just for clarification, I'm sorry if I didn't say it before, but Parks Department currently is actively working to get those retaining walls fixed. And I believe the fence going in further to keep people away from to keep them away from that area that could be a potential danger. However, they are actively working with the solicitors and building departments to rectify those retaining wall issues. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. From the chair, Jan or Jessica, at the public hearing for this project, was there any opposition from the public?
No.
No comments, because I got several calls on this project with people saying to me that, as a community member, they weren't involved in the conversation by the park department as what they wanted to do in this park. And they felt uncomfortable not having to have the ability to have input. I don't know if Council Pereira got any calls like that either, but. Okay, I was just curious. You don't know if the park department held a meeting in this area to talk about what their plans were, correct?
No, we don't know.
I had the same conversation with someone regarding the project that you denied for Brooklawn Park, where they were, and I spoke to Councilor Jester about that, about how they were really upset about the tennis courts and people not having the ability to have input before the park department presented a project for CPA funds, so.
Yeah, we knew about the Brookline Park comments. We did not
Yeah.
hear anything about this park.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. Anyone else on this project? Going once? Okay, project 15.
Okay. The next project is Roach Jones Duff House Securing History. The location is at 396 County Street. The applicant is Roach Jones Duff House and Garden Museum Inc. The funding amount is $23,500. The category is Historic Resource. It's in City Ward 4. The Roach Jones Duff House and Garden Museum is the only extant Whaling Mansion and Garden estate in the city. The property is a National Historic Landmark and is listed in the National Register of Historic Places. The RJD grounds are open to the public, and the museum hosts special events, private events, and school groups year-round. This project will fund the upgrade of the smoke, fire, and security systems. And in previous years, the Roach Jones Duff House has received $355,600. FY18, $75,000 for roof and exterior repairs. FY21, $89,700 for painting. FY22, $142,900 for masonry repairs, and FY23, $48,000 for flat roofs. The building is a National Historic Landmark. It's included in the County Street National Register Historic District, and this project preserves the building with the installation of an alarm system, fire, and security. It has an impact on tourism, and there's community support for this project.
Thank you. Jessica, you wish to add anything?
No, Jan covered everything. Thank you.
Good, colleagues. So I just have a question. Does this install a sprinkler system or just the alarm systems?
I believe just
It's not sprinkler. It's the alarm system. It's a panel, cameras, smoke, motion detectors, panic buttons, CO2, and smoke detectors.
Okay, so there is, I don't believe there is a sprinkler system in this building, correct?
I do not know for sure, Counselor.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else on this issue? Going once? Project 16.
Okay. Next is the Strand Theater Restoration. It's located at 1157 Acushnet Avenue. The applicant is Cape Verdean Association in New Bedford. The funding amount is $225,000. CPA category is Historic Resource. City Ward is Ward 2. The Cape Verdean Association in New Bedford owns the historic Strand Theater, one of the few surviving theaters of its era in the North End, and is currently transforming the building into the Cape Verdean Cultural Center. The center will provide arts and cultural programming that celebrates and educates the public about the city's diverse cultures and communities. This project recommendation funds the installation of an ADA accessible entrance on the south elevation and construction of an ADA accessible bathroom. And so far, the Strand Theater Restoration has received $740,000. FY18, $50,000 for the exterior. FY19, $150,000 for the exterior. FY22, $300,000 for the exterior. It's an adaptive reuse of a vacant, architecturally and historically significant building. It activates the beginning of Acushnet Avenue after it crosses 195 as a cultural district. It's a catalyst for transformative change. It leverages public and private funding resources, and it builds on previous CPA funding, large projects that need multiple years of funding due to small CPA budget, and there's strong community support for the project.
Thank you, Jan. Jessica, you wish to add anything?
No, thank you. She covered everything.
Councilor Baptiste, did you want the floor? I couldn't tell. I guess not. All right, questions on this item? Chair recognizes Council Lopes.
Thank you, Chairman Morat. So Jessica or Jan, either one can answer the question. So on page 2 of this, it lists their capital campaign, $96,000, MCC Cultural Facilities Funds, $140,000, State Historic Tax Credits, $50,000, and Mass Development, $286,000. Have they received all of those, or have they only received the $286,000 from the Mass Development? I asked because the total carry down doesn't equal all of the funds listed on the soft cost. It just totals out to the 286.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I don't have an answer for that. I'm sure they've gotten the tax credits because they have to apply on an annual basis. So I don't know if that's something they're requesting or if they've received it yet, or any of those amounts.
They've received 50,000 from Mass Development Commonwealth Places, $591,185 from Mass Historic Tax Credits. They've received, what else? ARPA. They've received funding from both the state and city for ARPA. That's 700,000. Mass Cultural Facilities, I'm sorry, Mass Cultural Council Facilities. They've been awarded 230. They have a contract pending for another 230, and they're applying, I think, for additional funding. They're launching their capital campaign. And they've received, as you've seen, they've received CPA funding.
Okay. So my only question / takeaway would you be able to total that out for the upcoming city council meeting?
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Yep, thank you, Counselor. Chair recognizes, yep, thank you. Chair recognizes Counselor Oliver.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This project outline is solely for ADA access to the entrance and bathrooms, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What was I gonna say? Did this fall under the same, we just ran out of money? They were they asking for 235 and we did 225?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. That's all I had. I yield, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Pereira, were you looking for the floor? Okay. Anyone else on this issue? Jessica, you be able to send the information that Counselor Lopes asked for as part of the response back?
Yes, I
Perfect.
will.
Okay.
Mhm.
Anyone else going once? Counselor Jester, don't cry. It's okay. Project 17.
Okay, next is the Talbot Apartments restoration. It's located at 1168 Acushnet Avenue. The applicant is Community Action for Better Housing. The funding amount is $255,000. The category is community housing. The ward is Ward 2. The Talbot Apartments, historically known as the Hotel Waverly and Touraine Hotel, is a historically and architecturally significant building and has been listed in the National Register of Historic Places since 1990. The property suffered a fire in November 2022, leaving the building uninhabitable with 26 mixed income units affected. This project recommendation will fund the restoration of the building, including windows, gutters, siding, and interior and exterior painting. And this was a high priority for us. It's restoration of a historically and architecturally significant building to restore 26 units of low and very low income housing. It addresses a need within the CPA plan and other city studies. It leverages public and private funding resources. It has the capacity to serve underserved population and capacity of the organization to develop project. High community support. It's located in the Acushnet Avenue Transformative Development Initiative District, and we recommend funding of the project.
Thank you. Jessica, you wish to add anything?
No, Jan covered everything. Thank you.
Colleagues? From the chair, this is the first request, correct?
Yes.
And this is, it would appear from their budget that this will be the only request.
Let's
Correct.
hope.
Let's hope they don't find any surprises, but they've already started the work, if you've seen it. They've already started the roof work, so I think hopefully they haven't found too many surprises yet. They have not indicated anything to me.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Going once? Chair recognizes Council Oliver.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As we know, that this building suffered a fire close to Thanksgiving, I believe, a year and a half ago now. They seems like they're getting a lot of funding from multiple sources. Were they just, were they just not properly insured to rebuild, or I don't know. I see the need for it. It was a significant loss, a lot of housing. I just seems like a lot of money from general public and other sources.
They did receive just over $1.2 million from their insurance company. I don't know what their policy was, but as we know, historic preservation and restoration has a cost that is greater than just a regular rehabilitation and restoration after a fire. And I think that they also have to come into compliance with perhaps with some things that they maybe were grandfathered for.
Right. I was going to ask if do we know if any like fire suppression or anything is going into this building?
It has to, I believe, based on the updated regulations. That's I don't think they have a choice.
Okay.
In that matter.
All right. Thank you. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Council. Anybody else? Going once? Project 18.
Okay. Next project is the Underground Railroad Cafe and Gallery. The location is 213 Acushnet Avenue. The applicant is Underground Railroad Cafe and Gallery, LLC. The funding amount is $25,000. The category is Historic Resource. It's located in City Ward 4. The Underground Railroad Cafe and Gallery is a contributing historic resource located within the County Street National Register District. Built in 1887, this 2.5-story hipped roof structure has long served the Cape Verdean community as a market, soda fountain, grocer, and restaurant. This project recommendation will fund a building envelope assessment and the creation of architectural drawings. It supports historic preservation of a building with a notable history circa 1887. It's part of the Cape Verdean community. The $25,000 will go to fund an envelope assessment, which is the necessary first step to facilitate a rehabilitation that will adhere to the Secretary of Interior standards. It has to be done by licensed design professionals, so we will be able to, the applicant will be able to leave the project with the drawings they need to move on to have the work done and also get the prioritized work that needs to be done as part of the building. It will address any ADA accessibility needs if the project cost is 30% or more of the building value. It's a catalyst for neighborhood stabilization and neighborhood change, and there's strong community support for the project.
Thank you, Jan. Jessica, you wish to add anything?
No, I do not. Thank you. Jan covered it all.
Colleagues? Going once? Project 19.
William H. Carney Lodge. Okay. William H. Carney Lodge, number 200. The location is 293 Cottage Street. The applicant is the William H. Carney Lodge, number 200, IBPOW. The funding amount is $25,000. The category is Historic Resource. The city ward is 4. The William H. Carney Lodge number 200 building was constructed in 1905 as the George E. McComber Ice Cream Factory. The lodge purchased the building in 1973, and it has since served as the cultural, political, and social meeting place within the West End neighborhood where it is located. This recommendation will fund the installation of a roof. and it supports historic restoration of a building of notable history and historical significance in the West End neighborhood of New Bedford. It's a catalyst for further neighborhood stabilization. There was very strong community support for the project, and we recommend funding of the $25,000.
Okay, Chair recognizes Council Choquette.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jan, Jessica, I just had a question. Why did they request 104 but only got 25?
They requested 104 for the roof, and we
And
talked.
the envelope assessment.
Say that again, Jessica.
The scope of the work included the envelope assessment as well.
Roof and the envelope assessment. And, we talked to them about the amount for the building in terms of doing the roof. We understood that they were selling a parcel. We wanted them to do an envelope assessment, but their highest priority was doing the roof. So we deferred to that priority. This way, if they want to come back to get an envelope assessment, that would be the next project that we would talk to them about if they decide to come back. And this is something that we've done for a project like the Verdi and Vets. We funded a roof for them. This is only going to fund, it's helping with the roof. Verdi and Vets, we helped to fund a roof, and then they came back and we provided money for an envelope assessment. So.
Okay, yeah, I would have no problem even having them get funded up to the full 104,000. I just didn't know why it was cut. That's all. That was just my question. All right, thank you. Madam Chair, I yield my time.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Council Baptiste.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The question I gotta ask is like, I know this is their first time coming in and they've asked for $104,000. I don't know why would that not be a priority to approve, knowing that that would be used way more in the community than the fixing the front of the Superior Courthouse. Like it's a community building which served this community for many years. This will be a big upgrade to the building, and they would be, they asked for 104, they get 25. The Superior Court asked for 422, they get 285, and that's a county courthouse, not a building that would be used in the community. Like, why wouldn't we figure to try to help these small places out in a couple of lump sums to get them done faster so that we can work on more small community efforts around the city instead of putting a lot of money into projects that could be funded in other places by other parts of the county.
Well, I would say as part of our application process, we also look at capacity of the applicant. And so we want to make sure that the applicant has the ability to do the project, complete the project in a timely fashion, and adhere to all the regulations that are needed for them to do the project. This was the first time this applicant came to us. So when we talked to them about different things and during the application process, I'm not sure we got all the answers we needed to be able to feel comfortable with the $104,000. We asked them to do an envelope assessment because in our mind, then they would be able to have what they need to do to move forward. And we explained that to them that if, you get this 25,000, then you can come back to us and ask us for 200,000 afterwards. But that's the process that we've been using just to make sure that we always have applicants that have the capacity to do the work that's required for the project.
If I may add, Counselor. So this is similar to the Ultramarine Club and the Underground Cafe. and that the CPC originally approved and were recommending the envelope assessment because they felt that this would be the first step that these applicants needed in order to understand what they needed to do with their building, how to follow the Secretary of Interior standards, how to address any ADA accessibility needs, if the 30% trigger would apply with the work that they needed to be done. That was what was originally recommended. The applicant requested that that money then be shifted to a roof. And as Jan mentioned, they indicated to us during their presentation that they were selling one of their adjacent lots and they were going to be using those funds to put into the building. The building is not currently being used. It's the organization is being overseen by a fiscal agent. There were some things that were concerning to the CPC, but they felt very strongly because of the public support, because of the history, because of of what this organization represents to the community. They felt very strongly they wanted to support this organization. And the first step for any historic preservation, as Jan pointed out earlier tonight, is to do an envelope assessment. The CPC takes very seriously their fiduciary duty. They understand that this is taxpayer money that they are using, and they want to make sure that the public benefit is there and that they are not spending this money wisely. So the envelope assessment is typically the first step. The applicant asked during the meeting if they would consider, they being the CPC, shifting the scope to the roof. And as Jan indicated, the Verdian vets received funding for a roof because it was something urgent. And then the following year came back and received money for an envelope assessment. So the CPC decided to take that same route because they had done that in the past for other organizations. So that's why they ended up with the $25,000. But again, they can come back in this fall and ask for money for the envelope assessment unless they fund it themselves and come back for other funding.
And I understand that, and I think it's sad that a place like that has to sell pieces of their land just in order to pay for some of their bills. And I understand, like, post-COVID, how much places like that got hit in our community. And I know that roof is very, you need the roof to keep the building up. And like you said, between that, the Underground Railroad, and the band club, I'd rather see that 285,000 get spread throughout them three places, or some other places that we have in the city that actually get used by the community, that would actually sustain places in these communities that's been there for a long time. But I yield the floor. I don't know how certain places get so much more money that, and I understand your process, and I'm not blaming you guys, but I rather see some of these things get done so these places can actually stay standing, instead of waiting another year and putting an assessment in, and then next year the whole roof collapses, and then it costs more money to fix up the whole place than it would to just give them a quick $100,000 just to fix the roof so they can start the process. But thank you. I yield the floor.
Councilor Tisa, I would also say that, as you can see, that we have funded projects 3, 4, 5 times. So, once someone comes in with their prioritized work list, we can help them move forward and get the work that needs to be done first achieved. Because that's, one thing I've learned since working in preservation: just because you think the roof is the most important part to be done, once you get that assessment done by an architect or an engineer, you may find out there's a different part of the building that really needs the attention. And so that's the point of doing the assessment, to figure out what area needs the most work and what's the most urgent. I mean, the masonry might be the most important part of that building that needs replacement, and not the roof. We don't know. That's why we need the assessment done.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jan. Council Gomes, were you looking for the floor? No, okay. Chair recognizes Council Carney. Council Carney, I'm recognizing you.
I was trying to unmute myself. Sometimes it takes me a little while here. So yes, thank you, Jan. You answered the question because that's what I wanted you to kind of explain to the general public the reason for it and why you asked for an envelope assessment. And that's the starting of every project. Is every project that has come before us been required or have done the envelope assessment at some point? I heard you say that you gave the Cape Verdean Vets Club the roof first, and then they came back with the envelope assessment. So the envelope assessment, you just elaborate on it. That's your first step. Has everybody done that for the major projects?
Well, for the major projects, everyone has architectural drawings that they submit as part of the project. So we can actually see the work that's being done, even when it's a phased work. They'll say this work is what's going to be accomplished this time. This is what the architect says we need to provide, especially the $1 million projects. They actually come in with architectural drawings. And so doing the envelope assessment could help provide some basic architectural drawings so they would know where they need to start off and do the work.
So it's basically a needs assessment to make sure that the money is not being wasted, that you're starting off with a foundation for the project as you move forward. So that way you know exactly what's going on. In the smaller, but the bigger projects with $1 million, I shouldn't use those because they have to have engineering drawings or whatever, because that's a must through city codes. Also, I mean, the smaller projects have to go through the city codes also. So it is kind of beneficial to have that money first to get that assessment from an architect, so you know exactly what you need and come back to the CPA at a later time with your whole list and your priorities there. So my question is, if the lodge wanted to use that 25,000, decided instead of put it towards the roof, wanted to use it for the envelope assessment, can they? If they change their mind, or does it have to, since it went in there and you said it's for the roof, do they have to use it for the roof now?
Well, we tried to get them to use it for an envelope assessment. So they came back to us and told us their priority was the roof.
Okay, so they're definitely going to use it for the roof. So if they change their mind later, can they use it or no?
Well, I would suggest that they come back in September.
Okay, all right. So the answer is no, so they have to use it for the roof.
Yeah, I do feel that our funding cycles are close enough that if you get the money in June and you start working, you can do something over the summer and then come back in September and say, hey, we're going to apply for this part next. And you'll have something within, you'll know by next June what you get.
Okay, thank you. I yield my time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Chair now recognizes Council Gomes.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. You got to understand that the situation that that club is in is a dying situation. And yes, they came before you looking for money, and they you advised them to do the envelope assessment. They have very great concerns about the roof and the structure of the building. I know the process with them has been very tensed. I can just tell by the body mechanics this evening, but they have a great concern of saving that building. That building was a beacon within that community. That building served that community very well, not only the club itself, but the neighborhood in general. And I think you've heard that from Councilor Baptiste earlier. I would just hope that we would lead them in the right direction and help them to achieve what they're looking to do with that building. Yes, it is their first time before you and asking for money. I've had several conversations about this building. I know that they're in dire straits of trying to just save the building itself to be what it used to be within the community and giving more. So as you move along with this, I'm going to support this tonight. I, as Councilor Baptiste, would have fully supported the 108 for them, because it's not going to. I was going to ask the question, what were your concerns about them? But I'm not going to go there. If you would put that on paper, I would like to see that and forward it to the chairman of the committee so she can forward it to us, because that statement was made that you had some concerns about the club itself. I don't know of anything ever with that club that was concerning, but again, they're looking to save the building, and let's try to help them as much as we can. I'm gonna maybe the mayor has some leftover COVID money that we could get into that building. Again, that building, a beacon within the community. If you ever been there, if you ever have been entertained by the building or seen the fundraising or whatever has gone on in that building. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks, Counselor. Anyone else on there first? I see you, Counselor, but. Okay, so no one else is on there first. Counselor Choquette on your second?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You have to
So
wait your
I
turn,
know the
Counselor.
sentiments of the counselor from Clara Street and of course, counselor from Ward 4. I was listening earlier and it sounded like someone said there was fiscal oversight. So I apologize. I don't know if it was Jessica or Jan who said it, but what are the fiscal oversights that were mentioned?
I don't think I said fiscal oversight, Counselor. Did you, Jan?
When you were answering counselor from Ward
They're fiscal
yeah,
agent.
fiscal. Yeah.
Yeah, that they're not a nonprofit in their own right, that they were that they have a fiscal agent that of the lodges, like the hierarchy of the lodges. So they operate under the 501c, I think it's a 4 of the regional. Is it a 4?
501(c)(8).
Oh, 8, I'm sorry, right. That's what I meant by the fiscal agent.
Okay, and again, like I said before, I'd have no problem seeing this project funded to the full 104,000. But thank you. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you. Jan, you were breaking up. You said it was a 501(c)(8)?
Yes, it's a fraternal lodge organization.
Good, thank you. Anyone else on this issue? Going once? Project 20. Oh, I'm sorry, Counselor Carney, you wanted a second?
Yes, just quickly. Was the 104 the total project, the total amount for that roof?
To clarify, I missed a couple pieces because we've only been talking about envelope assessment and roof. The original application was envelope assessment, roof repair, window and door upgrades, fire suppression, and alarm system for 104,000.
So the whole project, all that was only 104,000?
Correct. That's what they stated in their application.
That's a lot of work for 104,000. So, I mean, that would have done a lot in that building if they got the 104,000.
If they could get quotes that actually were that amount. Yes, Counselor.
So, right, were the quotes submitted to, did they have the?
They did not submit quotes for everything, no. They just submitted quotes for the roof.
Okay. Oh, okay. So that's what I was wondering. So, so the quote, what was the quote for the roof?
And a ramp. They also did a ramp, but they didn't give a number on that.
So you that's what I was waiting. You said the only quote that you got submitted was for the roof, correct?
I may have misspoken.
Oh, you didn't have a quote for the roof?
Let me double check. If you don't mind, give me 1 second to get into that one. Let's see. The roof was 79,000. That was one quote. And then one for 79, and there was one for 84 for the 2 roofs, but they did not provide a quote for any of the other pieces of the scope. Typically, around 25,000 is what an envelope assessment with other architectural drawings would cost. A sprinkler system is in and of itself is a very expensive endeavor. That 104 probably would have covered the envelope assessment and the roof, but not the other portion that they had listed in their application.
Okay, yeah, I was just looking for the total price of the roof to see how much, they're gonna need to fund.
I would
is
say
addi-
84 is the highest, but depends on if they
Yeah,
find rot when they open it up, who knows? But that was the
Well,
applications, the quotes that they
Okay.
submitted with the application.
all right, thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair. I yield. Thank you,
Councilor
Jessica.
Harding.
Thank
Chair
you,
recognizes Councilor Baptiste on his second.
You was about to call me somebody else just now, huh?
I was, yeah.
Are you that tired? I know it's getting late, so I know. But the question I have to ask, if that's how much it will cost for the envelope assessment and the roof, knowing that they have other things going on later on, why wouldn't we try to cover the envelope assessment and the roof while we can, and then move on to the other projects if they can raise money for next year and then do something like that?
Do you want me to answer that one?
You're asking why we didn't pay for the envelope assessment?
And the roof.
And the,
No,
oh, and-
no, I'm saying that if it covered like the two main things that they had to do, even if they, put the money for the envelope assessment first and then still got the roof, like that's actually covered, like, killing two birds with one stone, so that if they ever needed anything more, that, at least the process is started so they know what they have to fundraise for, what they have to, and instead of waiting for, a year or so, or how many months it's going to take.
Well, we
I
asked-
think, go ahead, Jan.
go
No,
ahead. No. You can go ahead, Jessica.
Counselor, so the CPC's process when they were reviewing these applications, they spend a considerable amount of time reviewing the applications, asking the questions and scoring these applications. Because of the strong public support that this project had, it overrode some of the reservations that they had about the organization's capacity to see this project through. Coupling that with the fact that the CPC is very cognizant of the fact that they are stewards of the public dollars, they felt the first prudent step would be to do an envelope assessment. In the application, the roof was part of the scope, but during the presentation, it was not presented as high a priority as they then just presented to the CPC when the CPC was making their recommendations. So that's why the CPC pivoted and said, okay, no envelope assessment, use the money for the roof, similar to what they did with the Verdian vets. And I would like to just point out that the CPC's decision is not a judgment of what this organization means to the community. And the very fact that this organization means so much to the community is the reason that the CPC felt strongly to support this organization in its first step. The applicant didn't agree with what that first step should be. And so the CPC said, we respect your request and we will provide you with the funding for the roof. And yes, it is sad, I agree, that they have to sell property in order to fund this project. But it's still public dollars. So they made that choice to say, okay, do the roof.
I'm actually not sure if they are sold the parcel to just fund this project. My impression at the time we talked to them in January is that they were planning to sell this parcel anyway, and it would be used to do work on the building. And that would increase their budget, or they could use that to fund something that was there or wasn't there. It would give them a budget to do some work on the building. So I didn't perceive it that they decided to sell the parcel because they were not getting funding from the CPC.
Thank you.
All right, Counselor. Anyone else? Okay, thank you very much. When we're on to project number 20, please.
Okay, next project, YMCA renovation. Project location is 25 South Water Street. The applicant is YMCA South Coast, Inc. Funding amount $40,000. Category recreation, ward is 4. The YMCA South Coast is currently developing a design to renovate the New Bedford facility, including the open space, green space along Union Street. Plans to develop this area into a public-private interactive space could enhance Union Street, creating passive and active recreation space and extend facility programming outside for members, summer camp attendees, and daycare facility. This project will fund a feasibility study to include detailed landscape architecture designs that will maximize public access and use. So this project will fund a feasibility study, and some of the questions were about public access because it is on Union Street. We wanted to make sure that the public did have access to this landscape space. The applicant assured us that they would. It's going to provide public access in addition to supporting the YMCA programming, and it enhances the aesthetic of the space.
Thank you, Jan. Jessica, you have anything to add?
No, Jan covered it all. Thank you.
Very good. Colleagues? Going once? Okay, project 21.
This is the YWCA Residential Services. The location is 549 County Street. The applicant is YWCA Southeastern Massachusetts. The funding amount is $102,500. The category is Historic Resource. It's in City Ward 4. The Aldrich Kempton House, circa 1850, is a well-preserved Italianate structure located within the County Street Historic National Register District. Originally a single-family home, it was later used as a funeral home, then converted into a boarding house. Purchased in February 2023 by the applicant, it is now the YWCA Drayton House and will house 12 low-income women. Each resident will have a fully furnished bedroom and shared common area, kitchen, and bathroom. This project will fund the installation of an ADA-compliant entrance and the conversion of a residential unit, bathroom, and common area and kitchen to create an ADA-compliant unit. So this project is in a architecturally significant building within the County Street National Register District. It provides handicap access into the building, common areas, and provides a ADA accessible apartment for one of the residents. It addresses a need within the CPA plan and other city studies for affordable housing. It leverages public and private funding resources, and it has the capacity to serve underserved population of the city. And there will be a preservation restriction recorded on the property. There's also strong community support for the project.
Thank you, Jan. Jessica, you wish to add anything?
No, Jan covered everything. Thank you.
All right, colleagues, before I open the discussion on this item, there is a communication that was sent to me as chair of the Finance Committee. I had the office share it with all of you today. I also shared it with Jessica and Jan. That document needs to be received and placed on file. I will do that as part of the approval so that we can take that roll call for receiving and placing on file that communication just before we bring this project up for your consideration. Okay, Chair recognizes Council Gomes.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. You say that this house will have 12 units for just women, or will it be children, or any mixture? And what people will we be serving? Will this has it the applicant put down?
It's 12 units of housing for women. And that's what the applicant submitted on their application.
There was no more of what services will be rendered out of that house to the women that are being taken in?
I will say, Counselor, that the CPA doesn't usually address the use of a building. We focus more on the fact that it's a historic resource. and it's something that we're trying to preserve. And we know generally that it's going to be used as residences for women. We
That's
don't,
correct.
we
I
don't,
would just like to say I'm going to support this project. I've heard some conversation about this project over the week, calling it a sober house and other things that I don't think that this house is all about, and I don't think that the YWCA is into sober houses. What they are into is providing a service for abused women, women who have had okay, maybe alcohol or whatever problems, but I believe this program will be one that will be very vital to the women that it will serve, to the community, and to the community at large in the years to come. So I would urge my colleagues to support this. Again, I don't look at this as a sober house, and I know it's being categorized as a sober house by some people. That's not what the intent of this house is. The intent is to provide housing for women under stress, may it be whatever it is. And I'm going to completely support it. Thank you for the opportunity, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Council Gomes. Chair recognizes Council Lopes.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I will just add on top of what Council Gomes has said. The total project is $216,000. They're raising $114,000 external. They're creating greater than a one-to-one match of outside funds. So this is an ideal CPA project where they're bringing in external funds on top of the CPA funds, greater than one-to-one. So, and the work that the YW does across the community has been outstanding. Their leadership and their board has provided nothing but unbelievable project services to the greater good of the community, and they wouldn't do anything that would tarnish their reputation across the community. So I support everything that Councilor Gomes stated in his previous comments. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Yep. Chair recognizes Council Oliver.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The house is not being occupied currently, correct?
No, it
No,
is.
I believe it is occupied.
It is occupied. Okay.
Mhm.
And
may
the
not
house and the property was a boarding house prior to the YWCA purchasing this property? So it was a boarding house before the YWCA purchased it, and they're looking to basically use it for the same use.
yes.
For the general public, I know that you, in previous years, you've explained this, but historic resource or historic preservation, why under that category and not housing?
It's because CPA housing, affordable housing is a tough category to provide funding for. You have to actually purchase the you have to actually acquire the property with CPA housing for you to be able to use CPA money to fund affordable housing. So for us, CEDC, we provided acquisition money for that, so they can use later CPA money to provide housing. But in this case, because they already acquired it, and it is a historic resource, you can blend different categories so they can provide affordable housing under the historic resource category. It doesn't have to be under the affordable housing category or the housing category.
And it was already a boarding house or a rooming house before. And I know that we have had some issues with some of these type of properties with when they're densely packed with multiple people. Do we know if there's fire suppression in this building, or is that something that maybe they've spoken about, maybe coming back to us for?
No.
I'm assuming
No.
since they have the license to occupy and license, occupancy license, that whatever code that they have to follow has been followed.
Okay. And I guess, and this is solely just ADA compliant. Obviously, did I hear it was for one resident right now? But obviously, future residents will be able to use it. But is this just a ramp? Is it for something inside the house? What exactly is the ADA compliance that we're looking for here?
Well, they're looking to make an ADA compliant entry, so they have to put a lift on the outside of the building to bring people up to the living level, and then they will modify a door to make sure that if someone in a wheelchair, that they can actually have a wide enough opening to use the wheelchair through it. And then they will be taking a first floor room and turning it into a ADA compliant apartment, meaning that all the cabinets and the stove and everything will be at a height that can be used by someone in a wheelchair. And it'll have a ADA compliant bathroom.
Yep.
Okay, that's all I have right now. I'll yield and let my colleagues speak. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Counselor. The chair recognizes Counselor Carney.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I'd like to piggyback my other councilors who are in fully support of this project and let the general public know that this is not a sober house. This is a project that is a local project that has been done for local residents. I do believe that the house is fully occupied. It was a boarding house prior to that, and prior to that, it was a funeral home that was owned by my in-laws for a bazillion years. It has an elevator in there. There is a lot of amenities inside that building, but it does not have a handicap accessible apartment, or I should say a room for that, and that's what they need. And for us to become compliant with ADA, they're going to need this funding to do that. As you know, that the YWCA does support the local community, does so many wonderful things. People don't know, but there is staffing, even though it's not a sober house, there is staffing 24/7 in this building. So I just want people to know out there in the community that we are not funding our CPA money a sober house. We are funding a residential house for women who are low income, who may have a problem or not, but they are in need of housing in our community. And this is a very worthwhile project for the community of New Bedford. So I urge my colleagues to follow suit. This is an historical building. My in-laws got the plaque on it years and years ago, so it does fall under historical preservation. So we do need this in the city, and I commend the YW. And as you know, it's got a big parking lot. It does not hinder the community whatsoever in any way, shape, or form, other than bringing good and to residents that need the help that they in this community, and they are local people. It's not somebody coming in here just to be a money grab. It's actually serving a purpose to help women in our community. Thank you for the opportunity, and I yield my time.
Did you have a question, Counselor?
Nope.
Okay. Chair recognizes Counselor Abreu.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I'd like to think us 11 certainly are clued into the community. We get the calls, we get the messages, the emails. We are certainly boots on the ground. I know me personally, and if any of my colleagues want to chime in afterwards and correct me, or if they've had different experiences, I beseech them to do so. But I've never received a call once about any of the residential units for housing that the YWCA operates under Gail Fortz's leadership and her team for ever having any concerns in the neighborhood, anyone wreaking havoc in the neighborhood, scaring people, scaring families, seniors, children. We've had that with sober homes. We've had the hearings. We know all about that. That's not what this is. I've spoken with Gail. I know pretty much all of you have. I believe so. She runs a class operation, and her entire board and her team wouldn't stand for any type of nonsense that would wreak any kind of havoc, as I mentioned, in the neighborhood. So that's why I support this tonight. How do you say no to women who have been battered and abused and who are looking to get back up on their feet again, all while preserving an historically significant property here in the city of New Bedford. So I support this wholeheartedly, based on the merit of the applicant, led by Gail Fortz and her board and her team, because they run a class organization, as we all know. And with that, I'll yield. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I'll ask you the same question, Counselor. You have a question?
No, Madam.
Chair recognizes Council Burgo.
Thank you. The question I have, which I think has been clarified since I raised my hand, but I just wanted to make sure it was clear, is what is this funding request for?
This funding request is to actually just do ADA accessibility. So it's putting in the entrance, the ADA accessible entrance in the building, and also converting a unit into bathroom common area and kitchen to create an ADA compliant unit.
So all for handicap accessibility, has nothing to do with housing at all, which is why I'm confused by all the questions around housing, and which is why I know there was a question previously about why this wasn't classified under the category of housing, because again, the funding, to clarify the question I just asked you, has nothing to do with housing. So I won't belabor the point, but that's the only reason why I wanted to clarify that question. There just seems to be so much focus around housing, which is a good thing. I'm glad we're talking about housing. But in this particular situation, it makes no sense at all. It's a waste of time because that's not what this funding is about, correct?
This has nothing to do with the use. It's actually to do with the building.
Wonderful. I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you so much for your time tonight, and I yield.
Thank you, Council. Council Baptiste, did you want the floor?
Yeah, all my questions have been answered. Just to clarify things, I just think that this is a good project, and what the YWCA has done for women in this community has been nothing short of amazing. And I think that, making this place handicap accessible for somebody to use, so for somebody to get on their feet, and hopefully that they, can do something to change their life around. I think this would be a perfect project. That's it. I yield the floor. Everybody's already said everything already, so I thank you.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Council Choquette.
I thought you forgot about me, Madam Chair.
No, I do them in order, Counselor. You'll get that.
Okay.
With
Well, if you had
experience.
been at last night's meeting at Ward 1, you would have discovered that many folks were not happy in the ward that you're in with me. And so
Counselor,
I have some pretty...
address your issues to the subject at hand, or I'll ask the clerk to mute you.
You're out of line.
Clerk
Okay,
Lawrence,
so here's my question.
Can you kindly mute the Ward 1 counselor, please? Counselor Oliver, you want a second?
Okay, Ward 1 doesn't get a vote. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to reiterate, we're talking about different categories, and my question, I'm not sure if there was just some confusion with what this was. It says it's a historical resource. But it is providing housing, so that's why I guess the context of why it just wasn't part of the housing. We heard about the Talbot apartments that had historical significance and whatnot, and that was under community housing. So I just wanted to clarify as to why the different categories and why this project fit in this category versus the other. That's all. So I'm not sure if there was any confusion on my part or perhaps in other colleagues, but I just wanted to reiterate that. That's all, Madam Chair. I appreciate it. Thank you for and I yield.
All right, thank you. Anyone else on the first? Councilor Choquette, would you like a second regarding the issue?
Yes, Madam Chair. Thank you. I only have two questions. So to either Jan or Jessica, and these are just rhetorical questions, but I'd like to ask them. Is the YWCA a nonprofit organization?
Yes.
Okay. Is the money being requested for $102,000? Is that taxpayer money from the residents of New Bedford? Through the CPA grant?
Of course, because CPA is funded through the surcharge and through the state match.
Okay, so you'd agree that the residents of wards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 will be paying for this project?
Yes.
Okay. So I just wanted to ask. Thank you. I yield.
Okay, anyone else on their first or second? All right, seeing none, councilors, I'd like to take a motion, please, from the floor to receive and place on file the communication that was submitted today.
So moved.
So
Moved by
moved.
Council Lopes. Second by
Second.
Council Giesta. Council Giesta, did you second that? Yep. Okay, any discussion on the communication? Roll call on receiving and placing on file the communication.
Council Abel?
Yes.
Yes, Council Abel, Council Baptiste?
Yes.
Yes, Council Baptiste, Council Burgo?
Yes.
Yes, Council Burgo, Council Carney?
Yes.
Yes, Council Carney, Council Triquette?
Yes.
Yes, Council Triquette, Council Giesta? Yes,
Yes.
yes, Council Giesta, Council Gomes?
Yes.
Yes, Council Gomes, Council Lopes?
Yes.
Yes, Council Lopes, Council Morad?
Yes,
Yes, Council Morad, Council Oliver?
Yes.
Yes, Council Oliver, Council Pereira?
Yes.
Yes, that passes 11-0.
very good. So colleagues, as I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, unless there are any other questions about any of the projects,
The pickleball court?
uh,
Oh, not
no-
recommended. I'm sorry. I just
That
saw
was not
pickleball.
recommended, Dennis, sorry.
Okay. No. Figured
All
why
right, are
not?
there any other questions
With
about
a few
any
more
of the other-
minutes anyway.
Are there any other questions about any of the projects? All right, we're going to take a roll call vote. I'll ask the clerk to call them. We'll go in order. If you would please leave your mics on so we can move along, that would be great. Project number 1, Boys and Girls Club Playground, $35,000.
Councilor Abreu?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Abreu, Council Baptiste?
Yes.
Yes, Council Baptiste, Council Burgo?
Yes.
Yes, Council Burgo, Council Carney?
Yes.
Yes, Council Carney, Councilor Triquette?
Yes.
Yes, Council Triquette, Council Giesta?
Yes.
Yes, Council Giesta, Council Gomes? Council Gomes? You're on mute, Brian.
Sorry about that. Yes.
Okay, yes, yes, Councilor Gomes, Council Lopes?
Yes.
Yes, Council Lopes, Council Morad?
Yes,
Yes, Council Morad, Council Oliver?
Yes.
Yes, Council Oliver, Council Pereira?
Yes.
Yes, that passes 11-0.
item passes 11-0. Project 2, Cape Verdean Ultramarine Band and Club. The request is for $25,000.
Council Abreu?
Yes.
Yes, Council Abreu, Council Baptiste?
Yes.
Yes, Council Baptiste, Council Burgo?
Yes.
Yes, Council Burgo, Council Carney?
Yes.
Yes, Council Carney, Council Triquette?
Yes.
Yes, Council Triquette, Council Giesta?
Yes.
Yes, Council Giesta, Council Gomes?
Yes.
Yes, Council Gomes, Council Lopes?
Yes.
Yes, Council Lopes, Council Morad?
Yes,
Yes, Council Morad, Council Oliver?
Yes.
Yes, Council Oliver, Council Pereira?
Yes.
Yes, that passes 11-0.
item passes 11-0. Project number 3 is the Capitol Theater Interior Restoration. The request is for $250,000.
Council Abreu?
Yes.
Yes, Council Abreu, Council Baptiste?
Yes.
Yes, Council Baptiste, Council Burgo?
Yes.
Yes, Council Burgo, Council Carney?
Yes.
Yes, Council Carney, Council Triquette?
No.
No, Council Triquette, Council Giesta?
Yes.
Yes, Council Giesta, Council Gomes? Councilor Gomes?
He stepped away.
Councilor Lopes?
Yes.
Yes, Council Lopes, Council Morad?
Yes,
Yes, Council Morad, Council Oliver?
No.
No, Council Oliver, Council Pereira?
Yes.
That passes
Item
8 to
passes.
0, 8 to
item
2.
passes 8-2. Project number 4, City Clerk Record Preservation, Phase 3. The request is for $50,000.
Councilor Abreu?
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Abreu, Council Baptiste?
Yes.
Yes, Council Baptiste, Council Burgo?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, Council Burgo, Council Carney?
Yes.
Yes, Council Carney, Council Triquette?
Yes.
Yes, Council Triquette, Council Giesta?
Yes.
Yes, Council Giesta, Councilor Gomes? Councilor Gomes, Councilor Lopes?
Yes.
Yes, Council Lopes, Council Morad?
Yes,
Yes, Council Morad, Council Oliver?
Yes.
Yes, Council Oliver, Council Pereira?
Yes.
That passes 10 to 0.
item passes 10-0. Project number 5, citywide signage for parks. The request is for $275,000.
Counselor Abreu.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Abreu, Counselor Baptiste.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Baptiste, Counselor Burgo.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Burgo, Counselor Carney.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Carney, Counselor Chuquette.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Chuquette, Counselor Giesta.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Giesta, Counselor Gomes.
Better be the
Counselor-
best looking signs in town, yes.
Okay. Yes, Counselor Gomes, Counselor Lopes.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Lopes, Counselor Morad.
Yes,
Yes, Counselor Morad, Counselor Oliver.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Oliver, Counselor Pereira.
Yes.
Yes, that passes 11-0.
item passes 11-0. Project number 6, digitization of maritime records, logbooks, and journals, Phase 3. The request is for $13,200.
Counselor Abreu.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Abreu, Counselor Baptiste.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Baptiste, Counselor Burgo.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Burgo, Counselor Carney.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Carney, Counselor Choquette.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Choquette, Counselor Giesta.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Giesta, Counselor Gomes.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Gomes, Counselor Lopes.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Lopes, Counselor Morad.
Yes,
Yes, Counselor Morad, Counselor Oliver.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Oliver, Counselor Pereira.
Yes.
That passes 11-0.
item passes 11-0. Project number 7 is before us. First Baptist Steeple Playhouse restorations. Request is for $60,000.
Counselor Abreu.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Abreu, Counselor Baptiste.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Baptiste, Counselor Burgo.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Burgo, Counselor Carney.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Carney, Counselor Choquette.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Choquette, Counselor Giesta.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Giesta, Counselor Gomes.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Gomes, Counselor Lopes.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Lopes, Counselor Morad.
No,
No, Counselor Morad, Counselor Oliver.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Oliver, Counselor Pereira.
Yes.
Yes, that passes 10-1.
item passes 10-1. Project number 8 is before us. Howland Family Portrait Conservation. The request is for $65,000.
Counselor Abreu.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Abreu, Counselor Baptiste.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Baptiste, Counselor Burgo.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Burgo, Counselor Carney.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Carney, Counselor Choquette.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Choquette, Counselor Giesta.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Giesta, Counselor Gomes.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Gomes, Counselor Lopes.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Lopes, Counselor Morad.
Yes,
Yes, Counselor Morad, Counselor Oliver.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Oliver, Counselor Pereira.
Yes.
Yes, that passes 11-0.
item passes 11-0. Project 9 is before us. James Arnold Mansion, Messer, Dormer, and how'd you say that, Jessica?
Mansard,
No, Corsa.
cornices.
Thank you, cornices repair. The request is for $95,000.
Counselor Abreu.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Abreu, Counselor Baptiste.
No.
No, Counselor Baptiste, Counselor Burgo.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Burgo, Counselor Carney.
Step away.
Okay. Counselor Choquette.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Choquette, Counselor Giesta.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Giesta, Counselor Gomes.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Gomes, Counselor Lopes.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Lopes, Counselor Morad.
No,
No, Counselor Morad, Counselor Oliver.
No.
No, Counselor Oliver, Counselor Pereira.
No.
That passes 6-4.
item passes 6-4. Project 10 is before us. Johnson House electrical upgrade. The request is for $85,000.
$85,000. Counselor Abreu.
Yep.
Yes, Counselor Abreu, Counselor Baptiste.
Definitely.
Yes, Counselor Baptiste, Counselor Burgo.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Burgo, Counselor Carney.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Carney, Counselor Choquette.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Choquette, Counselor Giesta.
Yes.
Thank you, Counselor Giesta. Yes, Counselor Gomes.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Gomes, Counselor Lopes.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Lopes, Counselor Morad.
Yes,
Yes, Counselor Morad, Counselor Oliver.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Oliver, Counselor Pereira.
Yes.
Yes, that passes 11-0.
Item passes 11-0. Project 11 is before us. New Bedford Fishing Heritage Center Archives, Phase 2. The request is for $30,000.
Council Abel.
Yes.
Yes, Council Abel, Council Baptiste.
Yes.
Yes, Council Baptiste, Council Burgo.
Yes.
Yes, Council Burgo, Council Carney.
Yes.
Yes, Council Carney, Council Triquette.
Yes.
Yes, Council Triquette, Council Giesta.
yes,
Yes, Council Giesta, Council Gomes.
Yes.
Yes, Council Gomes, Council Lopes.
Yes.
Yes, Council Lopes, Council Morad.
Yes,
Yes, Council Morad, Council Oliver.
Yes.
Yes, Council Oliver, Council Pereira.
Yes.
Yes, that passes 11-0.
item passes 11-0. Project 12 is before us. New Bedford Superior Courthouse facade restoration. The request is for $285,000.
$285,000, Councilor Abel.
Nope.
No, Council Abel, Council Baptiste.
No.
No, Council Baptiste, Council Burgo.
Yes.
Yes, Council Burgo, Council Carney.
Yes.
Yes, Council Carney, Council Triquette.
No.
No, Council Triquette, Council Giesta.
yes,
Yes, Council Giesta, Council Gomes.
Yes.
Yes, Council Gomes, Council Lopes.
Yes.
Yes, Council Lopes, Council Morad.
No,
No, Council Morad, Council Oliver.
No.
No, Council Oliver, Council Pereira.
No.
No. 6. The motion fails, 6
That's
to,
5.
5.
item fails 6-5. Item 13 is before us. Riverside Park Heat Island Relief Project. The request is for $50,800.
$50,800, Council Abel.
Yes.
Yes, Council Abel, Council Baptiste.
Yes.
Yes, Council Baptiste, Council Burgo.
Yes.
Yes, Council Burgo, Council Carney.
Yes.
Yes, Council Carney, Council Triquette.
Yes.
Yes, Council Triquette, Council Giesta.
yes,
Yes, Council Giesta, Council Gomes.
Yes.
Yes, Council Gomes, Council Lopes.
Yes.
Yes, Council Lopes, Council Morad.
No,
No, Council Morad, Council Oliver.
No.
No, Council Oliver, Council Pereira.
Yes.
Yes, that passes 9.
item passes 9-2. Project 14 is before us. Roberto Clemente Park improvements. The request is for $185,000.
$185,000, Council Abel.
Yes.
Yes, Council Abel, Council Baptiste.
Yes.
Yes, Council Baptiste, Council Burgo.
Yes.
Yes, Council Burgo, Council Carney.
Yes.
Yes, Council Carney, Council Triquette.
Yes.
Yes, Council Triquette, Council Giesta.
yes,
Yes, Council Giesta, Council Gomes.
Yes.
Yes, Council Gomes, Council Lopes.
Yes.
Yes, Council Lopes, Council Morad.
Yes,
Yes, Council Morad, Council Oliver.
Yes.
Yes, Council Oliver, Council Pereira.
Absolutely.
That passes 11-0.
item passes 11-0. Project 15 is before us. Roche Jones Duff's House securing history. The amount is for $23,500.
$23,500, Council Abel.
Yes.
Yes, Council Abel, Council Baptiste.
Yes.
Yes, Council Baptiste, Council Burgo.
Yes.
Yes, Council Burgo, Council Carney.
Yes.
Yes, Council Carney, Council Triquette.
Yes.
Yes, Council Triquette, Council Giesta.
yes,
Yes, Council Giesta, Council Gomes.
Yes.
Yes, Council Gomes, Council Lopes.
Yes.
Yes, Council Lopes, Council Morad.
Yes,
Yes, Council Morad, Council Oliver.
Yes.
Yes, Council Oliver, Council Pereira.
Yes.
Yes, that passes 11-0.
item passes 11-0. Project 16 is before us. Strand Theater restoration. The request is for $225,000.
$225,000, Council Abel.
Yes.
Yes, Council Abel, Council Baptiste.
Yes.
Yes, Council Baptiste, Council Burgo.
Yes.
Yes, Council Burgo, Council Carney.
Yes.
Yes, Council Carney, Council Triquette.
Yes.
Yes, Council Triquette, Council Giesta.
yes,
Yes, Council Giesta, Council Gomes.
Yes.
Yes, Council Gomes, Council Lopes.
Yes.
Yes, Council Lopes, Council Morad.
Yes,
Yes, Council Morad, Council Oliver.
Yes.
Yes, Council Oliver, Council Pereira.
Yes.
Yes, that passes 11-0.
item passes 11-0. Project 17 is before us. The Talbot Apartments restoration. The request is for $255,000.
$255,000, Councilor Abel.
Yes.
Yes, Council Abel, Council Baptiste?
Yes.
Yes, Council Baptiste, Council Burgo?
Yes.
Yes, Council Burgo, Council Carney?
Yes.
Yes, Council Carney, Council Triquette?
Yes.
Yes, Council Triquette, Council Giesta?
Yes.
Yes, Council Giesta, Council Gomes?
Yes.
Yes, Council Gomes, Council Oates?
Yes.
Yes, Council Oates, Council Morad?
Yes,
Yes, Council Morad, Council Oliver?
Yes.
Yes, Council Oliver, Council Pereira?
Yes.
Yes, that passes 11-0.
item passes 11-0. Project 18 is before us. It's the Underground Railroad Cafe and Gallery. The request is for $25,000.
$25,000, Councilor Abreu?
Yes.
Yes, Council Abreu, Council Baptiste?
Yes.
Yes, Council Baptiste, Council Burgo?
Yes.
Yes, Council Burgo, Council Carney?
Yes.
Yes, Council Carney, Council Triquette?
Yes.
Yes, Council Triquette, Council Giesta?
Yes.
Yes, Council Giesta, Council Gomes?
Yes.
Yes, Council Gomes, Council Lopes?
Yes.
Yes, Council Lopes, Council Morad?
Yes,
Yes, Council Morad, Council Oliver?
Yes.
Yes, Council Oliver, Council Pereira?
Yes.
That passes 11-0.
item passes 11-0. Project 19 is before us. The William H. Carney Lodge, number 200. The request is for $25,000.
$25,000, Councilor Abreu?
Yes.
Yes, Council Abreu, Council Baptiste?
Yes.
Yes, Council Baptiste, Council Burgo?
Yes.
Yes, Council Burgo, Council Carney?
Yes.
Yes, Council Carney, Council Triquette?
Yes.
Yes, Council Triquette, Council Giesta?
Yes.
Yes, Council Giesta, Council Gomes?
Yes.
Yes, Council Gomes, Council Lopes?
Yes.
Yes, Council Lopes, Council Morad?
Yes,
Yes, Council Morad, Council Oliver?
Yes.
Yes, Council Oliver, Council Pereira?
Yes.
That passes 11.
item passes 11-0. Project 20 is before us. It's the YMCA renovation. The request is for $40,000.
$40,000, Councilor Abreu?
Yes.
Yes, Council Abreu, Council Baptiste?
Yes.
Yes, Council Baptiste, Council Burgo?
Yes.
Yes, Council Burgo, Council Carney?
Yes.
Yes, Council Carney, Council Triquette?
Yes.
Yes, Council Triquette, Council Giesta?
Yes.
Yes, Council Giesta, Council Gomes?
Yes.
Yes, Council Gomes, Council Lopes?
Yes.
Yes, Council Lopes, Council Morad?
Yes,
Yes, Council Morad, Council Oliver?
Yes.
Yes, Council Oliver, Council Pereira?
Yes.
Yes, that passes 11-0.
item passes 11-0. Project 21 is before us. It's the YWCA Residential Services. The request is for $102,500.
102,500, Councilor Abreu?
Yes.
Yes, Council Abreu, Council Baptiste?
Yes.
Yes, Council Baptiste, Council Burgo?
Yes.
Yes, Council Burgo, Council Carney?
Yes.
Yes, Council Carney, Council Choquette?
No.
No, Councilor Choquette, Council Giesta?
Yes.
Yes, Council Giesta, Council Gomes?
Yes.
Yes, Council Gomes, Council Lopes?
Yes.
Yes, Council Lopes, Council Morad?
Yes,
Yes, Council Morad, Council Oliver?
Yeah.
Yes, Council Oliver, Council Pereira?
Yes.
That passes 10-1. We are
item
beyond the
passes
3-hour.
Happy on that last vote.
We are beyond the 3-hour mark right now.
Janice.
Getting
So
punchy
first of
now.
all, first of all, before we adjourn, Jan and Jessica, on behalf of my colleagues, I think I speak to say thank you very much, you and the group that sits on the Preservation Committee, for the work that you do to bring these projects to us. And thank you for being with us tonight. I'm glad you're all in your homes. It was a long meeting tonight, and at least when you're done now, you can just go in the other room and watch TV or go to bed or whatever without having to drive home. So, and to my
Council-
colleagues, this was a long meeting tonight. I thank you for your input. Appreciate it
Counselor,
very
do
much.
we not need to, I don't mean to interrupt you,
Want
but
to
do
see
we
my ass
not need-
again?
we need to make a motion to refer the full amount to the
If
full city
you
council?
tell me to do that, but not the full amount, we've got to cut something out.
I
here.
have,
Right,
I
yes.
have the amended amount, Councilor Moore,
I
Chairman
knew you
Moore, if
would.
you'd like.
I knew you would, so.
I
That's the
asked him at the
bookkeeper.
beginning.
All right,
So-
Council Lopes, what's the amended amount?
The amended amount will be $1,915,000 even. 1,915,000.
Jessica and Jan, you agree with that number?
Wait,
Okay.
I mean, I had to do math. I didn't know there was gonna be a quiz.
There's always a quiz at the end, Jess. Come on.
I believe there's only one project denied, so.
We
Yes,
only
I
removed-
know.
Yeah.
You removed 285,000 even from the project.
1915000.
Just trying to make sure we get
Never
the
doubt Counselor
confirmation.
Lopes's math.
Yeah, so good. All right, so thank you, Clerk Lawrence. Thank you, Council Lopes. Motion before us would be to refer to the full city council for the May 7th meeting.
As amended.
Recommendation of the community
moved.
preservation
Second,
projects totaling $1,915,000. Was made by who?
Council Lopes,
Council Lopes, second by Council Oliver. Any further discussion on the projects before us? Roll call vote.
$1,915,000. Counselor Abreu.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Abreu, Counselor Baptiste.
yeah,
Yes, Counselor Baptiste, Counselor Burgo.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Burgo, Counselor Carney.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Carney, Counselor Triquette.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Triquette, Counselor Diesta.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Diesta, Counselor Gomes.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Gomes, Counselor Lopes.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Lopes, Counselor Morad.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Morad, Counselor Oliver.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Oliver, Counselor Pereira.
Yes.
Motion
That
to adjourn.
passes.
Motion to
Item
adjourn.
11 to
Ooh.
0. Is it okay to adjourn now?
It is.
Yeah? Okay. Motion to adjourn's been made by Council Lopes,
Second.
second by Council Burgo. Is there any discussion on adjournment? Are you sure? Roll call vote.
Okay, on adjournment, Counselor Abreu.
I guess.
Yes, Counselor Abreu, Counselor Baptiste.
yes,
Yes, Counselor Baptiste, Counselor Burgo.
yes,
Yes, Counselor Burgo, Counselor Carney.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Carney, Counselor Triquette.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Triquette, Counselor Diesta.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Diesta, Counselor Gomes.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Gomes, Counselor Lopes.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Lopes, Counselor Morad.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Morad, Counselor Oliver.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Oliver, Counselor Pereira.
Yes.
Yes, that was 11 to 0, and you are adjourned at 10:06.
Good night.
Right.
Thank you all very
Right.
much. Thank you.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
night, everybody.
So much.